That is the prize for one of these two teams. Norwich boss David Wagner has already successfully navigated a playoff campaign, but Northern Lights have been shining all over the country this weekend. Leeds about to dazzle in Suffolk. Here's Scott Minto and Talksport's Ian Danter.
Thank you, Sam, and a very good morning to you wherever and however you're listening to Talksport. Already two playoff finals have been set up in the EFL. League One and League Two know the teams that are going to Wembley. Bolton and Oxford in League One, Crawley and Crewe in League Two. But now the pressure intensifies on the four clubs bidding for a place in next season's Premier League as the gut wrench of the playoffs reaches new heights. Norwich City, who are participating now in their third playoff campaign. They have won it before once in their history, take on a Leeds side who have never got through the post-season jamboree. Indeed, the first time they had a go was in the early days of the playoffs in the late 1980s when they lost in a playoff replay to one of Scott Minto's old teams, Charlton Athletic, when Billy Bremner was the Leeds United manager. But here they are, managed by a former Norwich Supremo, Daniel Farke, who twice won the title as Norwich boss, trying to mastermind a first leg advantage to take back to Ellen Road for the second leg at the end of this week. Norwich make two changes from their final day defeat at Birmingham in the end of the regular season. Jonathan Rowe makes his first start since January, and Dimitris Giannoulis comes in at left back. McCallum and Sorensen miss out. Angus Gunn is the Norwich keeper. Jack Stacey, Shane Duffy, Ben Gibson, Dimitris Giannoulis at the back. Marcelinho Nunez and Kenny McLean holding in midfield, and then Jonathan Rowe, Gabriel Sara and Bortha Sainz in behind Josh Sargent. For Leeds United, just one change. Archie Gray replaces Joel Peru. Jorginho Ruta goes up front. Ilan Meslier, the Leeds keeper. Sam Byron, Joe Roden, Ethan Ampadu, Junior Firpo across the back. Ilya Gruyev and Glenn Kamara, the holding midfielders. And then Archie Gray, Wilfred Gnonto and Crescencio Somerville behind Jorginho Ruta. Both teams in their first choice colours, Norwich in the canary yellow and green, Leeds in all white, and it's Jorginho Ruta who will get things underway. We're sat at the back of the main City stand here. Away to our left, the Barclay end, to our right, the River end, and it's the River end that Norwich will be attacking in the first half. Away to our right, Leeds in all white have got us underway on Talksport, and the Championship playoffs commence. West Brom against Southampton coming up for you live for you straight after this commentary as well. And Leeds coming forward early on with Archie Gray dispossessed, and Kenny McLean looks to put Josh Sargent over the top as Leeds are pushed up to halfway, but the ball just drifted away from the American, and Junior Firpo can guide the ball back to Ilan Meslier, the Leeds United keeper. So we're in the first minute. Scott Minto alongside me for the ride this afternoon, and Leeds coming forward, and Gnonto tries to turn it around the corner, but Norwich win it back.
Yeah, it's been Leeds so far with the possession, but I tell you what, again, I thought it'd be Norwich going at Leeds and Leeds perhaps trying to counter-attack, but Norwich had a great opportunity there to play the ball over the top. It was almost a one-on-one situation, and Josh Sargent came short to go long, and if the ball had been better in behind, he would have got hold of, or got in behind Ethan Ampadu, who was already holding on to him, would have had a decision to make. But in the end, that ball over the top wasn't good enough. So it's been a very open start already from both sides.
Norwich protecting a very, very good record here at Carrow Road. 16 unbeaten for the Canaries. But Leeds United have won the last four against Norwich. Kenny McLean, their captain, bulldozing his way through midfield for Norwich and releasing Bortha Sainz down the left-hand side, controls it down by the corner flag, faced up by Sam Byram, and Sam Byram trying to prevent the corner, but it's been given Norwich's way at the River end. Minute and a half gone, 0-0.
Yeah, great atmosphere here, isn't it? And Norwich just getting hold of the ball then and getting down their left-hand side. Good defending from Sam Byram. We talked about the importance of set pieces. First one of the game.
And Marcelinho Nunez is going over to where the River end meets the south stand, away to our right-hand side on the far side of the field from us, to swing in a right-footed corner, a packed 6-yard box in front of that goal at the River end. Meslier just bouncing up and down on his goal line, whips in near post and flicked on by a Norwich player, but Gnonto was able to hook it clear. But Norwich will win it back through both the sides. Good industry from him. Now charging towards the edge of the area. Flicks it right for Jonathan Rowe. First start since January for Rowe. Trying to get outside his man Firpo and whip a cross in. But it's come back off the former Barcelona man and out for a Norwich throw, 0-0.
Yeah, again, now Norwich just starting to get hold of the ball, and it's Leeds who are under pressure. Very important for Leeds United not to concede early. Already the atmosphere is great here. One thing they don't want to do is allow Norwich to get that goal and get the fans even more behind them.
Jack Stacey making his 50th appearance for Norwich today, takes the throw, but Leeds win it back. Firpo trying to guide it down this near left-hand touchline for Leeds. Suspicion of handball by Archie Gray. Nothing doing, says referee Josh Smith. Firpo passes it infield to Marcelino Nunez, who just fancied a crack at goal as the ball ran across his body from right to left, 25 yards out, skewed it horribly out. Has that gone out for a throw rather than a goal kick? I think it has, 0-0.
It's come up with the outside of his left foot. Worth a pop. It would have been some strike from there and technique, the way the ball was coming at him, but it's spun off his foot. It's pretty wide, that, Danter. It's a throw-in.
Minto-esque, that. 3.5
I resent that remark.
Thrown in by Sam Byram as Leeds restart play. On Talksport in the EFL Championship playoffs for the right to go to Wembley at the back end of May on Whitsun Bank Holiday weekend. And it's bank holiday weather.
It's a beautiful day, it really is. It's not too hot, but the sun is shining. That big bright yellow thing has decided to finally come out. I'll tell you what, everyone in this ground is up for this.
Thunderstorms on the way, I'm told, but for now, East Anglia is picture perfect.
Let's talk about the here and now then.
Leeds fans opposite us in the south stand, in that corner nearest to the Barclay end. They've got plenty to say as well in these early stages. Terrific atmosphere. Game's yet to really settle though. 0-0 the score. 4 minutes gone on Talksport. Leeds trying to pressurise Norwich inside their own half, and that led to a foul. And Jonathan Rowe was taken out, and that's a quickly taken free kick for Norwich. And Nunez, who likes to come and split the two centre halves to receive possession deep for Norwich, finds Shane Duffy. Duffy just drifts away from Rutter and fires a diagonal ball down the left-hand side. Giannoulis might get him behind because the ball was headed back to him by Byram, and Giannoulis anticipated that and very nearly got to it ahead of Ilan Meslier at the edge of the Leeds box, but Leeds clear. Nonso, good skill from him, but he gets up to halfway and Ben Gibson steers it away from him. But Leeds in their all-white kit win it back. Now Nonso down the right-hand side. First chance to run it. Giannoulis gets to the right-hand corner of the box, pulls it back. Rutter with a swing and a miss around the penalty spot. It was a perfect chance to guide the shot goalwards, and he was being pressurised, but he completely missed the shot. And it's out to play for a Leeds throw on this near side, 0-0.
Well, I'll tell you what, at both ends we nearly got a goal, didn't we? It's a fullback's nightmare when that high ball comes across and you're heading it back to your goalkeeper, and you're absolutely right. That was well read, but Meslier got there first.
Minto again down the right-hand side, up against both the sides, gets into the area, goes down. No penalty, says the referee. Now Rutter trying to jink his way down the penalty area right-hand side, but Giannoulis stuck with him. And in the end, the ball goes out for a goal kick. And the Leeds fans opposite us remonstrate with the assistant and the referee, feeling they should have had a penalty, 0-0.
Well, Nonto can't believe it. He's cut inside. He's got into the box. Look, I tell you what.
Well, Sainz has got his left arm on the shoulder of Nonto.
He hasn't got anything of the ball. He really hasn't. He's got his arm up, both arms up. He's gone for the tackle. He's not got the ball. He's got Nonto. Is it enough contact? That's the question the referee's asking. And I think in a game as serious as this, he needs to be 100% sure, the referee. But it's a penalty for me.
Don't forget, we are in a VAR-free zone, at least in the semi-finals. When the final comes around and VAR kicks in the EFL playoffs these days.
I know you love VAR, Dan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got a long-standing relationship. Here's Ben Gibson for Norwich, midway point of his own half. Trots toward the halfway line. Now Nonto comes to close him down. He tries to chip it down the left-hand side, but puts his hands on top of his head, Ben Gibson, as he gets it all wrong, and it just bounces twice and through to Meslier, 0-0.
I'll tell you one battle I'm looking at, and I do think it's a key one. There's more than just one, of course, but it is Jack Stacey, who's very experienced, knows what it's like to get promoted as well, but up against Somerville, who, have to say, in both the games tore him to shreds, really. So I think if he is to keep Somerville quiet, then there's every chance Norwich can get a really good result out of this game.
Norwich finished 17 points behind Leeds United in the final standings after 46 games, which is the biggest gap that's ever been between a third and sixth place finisher since the Championship came into being as a rebrand 20 years ago. But the playoffs is no respecter of points gaps.
No. And as a player, that would absolutely tear you apart, the fact that you finished 17 points above a team and yet you get knocked out in the playoff semi-final. So it's another...
Them's the rules.
Absolutely. it's another reason why the Leeds United players should be so determined to make sure it doesn't happen.
Byron plays it down the right-hand side for Leeds United. 8 minutes gone, 0-0. Minto puts the ball into the box. It was awkward for Rutter as he span and tried to bring it down inside the box. Heavy touch allowed Norwich to get it clear. But Joe Rodon will try and win possession back for Leeds United. Good industry from both the sides, and then in slides Rutter trying to win it back. And Nunez will just tap it back to Shane Duffy at the edge of his own penalty area. And he tries to release Jack Stacey down the right-hand side, up against the other number 3 out there, Junior Firpo. Stacey down to the corner flag at the river end, tries to rip the crossing, did get the crossing, but the deflection of Firpo made it easier for Ampadu to deal with. And then Meslier with a first-time left-footed clearance, doesn't make halfway, but Leeds do get it back through Glenn Kamara. Rutter inside his own half, dispossessed. Nunez will release Gabriel Sara down the right-hand side. Very left-footed player, jinks onto his left foot now, tries to dink the cross, and it's cleared out as far as Kenny McLean. Off to Scotland, I assume. Off to the Euros, rather, with Scotland. And of course the Euros, we're all over it on Talksport and Talksport 2. What a team we've assembled, including David Moyes, Emmanuel Petit and many others joining the fun. It starts on the 14th of June. Don't miss it. We've got every game for you live on Talksport and Talksport 2 throughout the tournament. Scotland going to be a big part of it, Scott Minto.
Yes, they are, and it's going to be a heck of an opening game, isn't it, against Germany? You never know. Could they catch Germany cold?
I'm sure Chris Owelamo is already dreaming of that. He'll be out there as part of our team watching Scotland. I was with him yesterday, the day after he won his boxing match.
How is he? How did it go?
Actually, he looked remarkably fresh, although he did knock the opponent out in 2 rounds. Who's going to knock the opponent out in this playoff semi-final? Norwich fans delighted as Leeds just passed the ball straight out of play needlessly for a throw. And Norwich had the ball on halfway. We played exactly 10 minutes on Talksport in this playoff semi-final first leg at Carrow Road between Norwich and Leeds. Only Leicester conceded fewer goals than Leeds in this season. They're pretty tight and obdurate at the back. Just 43 conceded. Leicester only conceded 41. And Norwich have found it difficult to beat Leeds in recent times.
Yeah, the problem is that how their defence has been in recent games. They've been shipping in goals over the whole season. Very, very good. Just recently, not so good. I'll tell you what's interesting as well. We were wondering where Archie Gray would play, and he's actually playing as that kind of number 10, helping Rutter to try and press as much as they can. Whether he can actually get on the ball, he's not seeing too much of it going forward, but he's certainly working hard for Leeds United without it.
Worth reminding that Archie Gray is just 18 years of age. Of course, he's got quite a lineage to work with. Son of Andy Gray, grandson of Frank Gray. So he's got some great provenance behind him, and he's been trusted with a very important role for Leeds United today. It's in the centre circle with Glenn Kamara for Leeds. 0-0 the score. If you're just tuning into Talksport this Sunday lunchtime, it's the Championship playoffs. Junior Firpo level with the edge of the Norwich penalty area on this left-hand side, with Leeds attacking the Barclay end in this first period, which is away to our left as Scott and I sit at the back of the City stand here at Carrow Road. Firpo again receives possession. Rutter trying to drift down the left-hand side of the box. Ball's taken off his toe, but a foul by Jonathan Rowe, and that means that Leeds have a free kick almost at the left-hand corner of the penalty area, and a chance to really put one in the mixer here. 0-0 the score.
Yeah, it's a dangerous position, definitely, and it might well be Somerville taking it. Just one of those sort of whip it in, aim for just outside the far post, and if no one touches it, it curls in.
Yeah, Ilya Gruyev, the Bulgarian, just having a chat with Somerville as he spots the ball down. Will be a right-footed delivery from Somerville. Going to try and sweep it in. Norwich trying to hold their line ahead of the 6-yard line. Try and give Angus Young a bit of space with which to see any potential ball that's fizzed in towards him. Gruyev dummies to hit the ball. Somerville does hit it, and it is headed behind by one of those defenders, Jack Stacey, the man who got the header on it. And Leeds have their first corner of the game at 0-0.
Oh, well, that's what he was definitely aiming for. It just wasn't quite high enough. Well defending from Norwich, but a little bit higher, going to the far post. It's such a difficult ball to defend against if the quality is good.
Somerville to take the corner at what they call the snake pit, where the Barclay End meets the City stand, just down to our left-hand side. Right-footed in-swinger into the near post, punched away by Gunn, driven back in by Minto and blocked by Duffy, and Norwich will try and launch a counter-attack. Giannoulis is up there with Bortha Sainz. Giannoulis, right-hand corner of the penalty areas. Norwich get up the other end, plays it back in field looking for Sainz, but just too far in front of him, and Firpo was back to clear the lines for Leeds United. Swift counter from Norwich, but it comes to nothing. 0-0.
Well, again, both these sides are good on the counter, aren't they? Leeds looking as if they perhaps are going to get the first goal. Well defended, really good counter-attack, and Giannoulis showing fantastic pace down that right-hand side despite him being left back.
Throw to Norwich, 10 yards from the corner flag on this right-hand side as they attack the river end. Thrown into Jonathan Rowe, trying to hold the ball up under pressure from Firpo. Nunez with a great cross into the box, and well defended by Rodon as Sargent was trying to fly across him. Super header from the Welsh defender to get it clear, and out of play for another Norwich throw. 0-0.
Yeah, I suppose what Norwich want, if the cross is going to come in, you avoid Rodon and Sargent, try and get on Ampadu. Both, as a central defensive partnership, have been superb this year, you have to say.
That's why Liam Cooper's been on the bench so often for Leeds, because Rodon and Ampadu, the two Welsh players, have really developed a terrific understanding as a centre-half partnership. Ball's back with Marcelino Nunez, just splitting the Norwich defenders again as he gets up to the halfway line for the Canaries. Rolls the ball into the feet of Sara. Now Rowe plays it right for Stacey. In space, gets to the byline. Watch the cross line. It's deep to the far post. Sargent goes up and gets something on it, but it skims off his forehead and goes wide. He was under pressure from two Leeds defenders as he went up for the header, but the American misses the target. Quarter now gone on Talksport. It's Norwich City 0, Leeds United 0. Here's Scott Minto.
Yeah, you know what? It's a really good game, this. Really open. Both teams trying to go out for the win. There's no caginess here at all. And both teams looking dangerous, whether they've got the ball or whether they're on the counter. Really good play from Jack Stacey down the right-hand side. A wonderful cross to the far post. And Sargent just wasn't quite able to get on the end of it. Meslier wasn't coming out. If it had been a powerful header.
Well, Leeds are mucking about with it at the edge of their own penalty area, and Sargent then gets pushed by Gruyev, and that will be a free kick, and Gabriel Sara is straight over, even though it's to the left of centre, favours the left-footed strike, or the right-footed strike more likely, but Nunez and Sara will have that conversation about who hits this free kick for Norwich City. About, I would say, 30 yards out, Scott Minto.
Yeah, look, there were some times where you can play out from the back, and there's some times where actually you just think to yourself, you know what, that's a good press from the opposition, I'm going to knock it a bit long. And Meslier just forcing it in where there were three Norwich players, and somehow they didn't create the chance there, but there's definitely a very important moment here. What, as you say, 30 yards out, but they'll go for a strike in terms of in front of goal. Yes,
it's parallel with the left-hand upright as we look towards the river end. So Gabriel Sara might just fancy trying to bend this around the wall and try and catch out Meslier at his right-hand post, the Leeds keeper, as he looks at it. The wall for Leeds is just inside the 18-yard box, and there's three Norwich players standing in front of that wall to try and mask Ilan Melier's view. Sara goes for it, and he goes along the deck with a daisy cutter, but Meslier plunges to his right and makes a comfortable save. Stays goalless on Talksport.
Yeah, look, it would have been some strike from there. You're right in terms of it was between the sticks, but to get it up and over or round the wall and to beat Meslier from that distance, I don't think it was ever really going to happen.
Another misplaced pass for Leeds United, this time from Joe Rodon. Out of play for a Norwich throw. You're listening to the EFL Championship playoffs on Talksport with McDonald's. Order McDelivery on the McDonald's app and get tasty rewards points. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. Ian Danter and Scott Minto with you at Carrow Road on this picture perfect Sunday afternoon in Norfolk. Goalless and very, very tense, as you would expect any playoff game to be. And we brought you some brilliant drama already across the Talksport network in the playoffs, not least Crews come back against Doncaster in League 2, winning on penalties on Friday night to make the final against Crawley Town, and Crawley dismantling MK Dons over 2 legs. Norwich are picking up a head of steam here, it seems, Scott. They've won another free kick a little bit further back from where they won the previous one, so I'm not sure anybody's going to have a direct shot at goal, but Leeds are being asked some questions here.
No, absolutely, yeah. It's a little bit too far out to have the direct strike, but Borja Sainz looks really up for it today, doesn't he? He's picking up little pockets of space, turning, running, looking sharp. And Leeds United at the moment just not able to get hold of him, giving away another foul.
Well, he's taking a few deliberate steps back from the ball, Marcelino Nunez. He may take this free kick away from Gabriel Sara, as it is slightly further across to the left, so it does favour a right footer even more. Sara moves away, so it will be Nunez. There's a 2-man Leeds wall 25 yards out. Nunez actually works it out to the left hand side in Yanulis. Early ball into the box, put behind for a Norwich City corner, their second of the game. It's 0-0.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to sort of shoot from there, and I suppose they take that with a corner with set pieces.
Sara's going to go across to that corner where the south stand meets the river end for a left-footed outswinger again. Even though it's an outswinging corner, the 6-yard box very, very busy, densely populated with yellow and green and white shirts. Now 1 or 2 drifting out towards the penalty spot in Norwich shirts, being followed. It's a combination of zone marking and man-to-man from Leeds. In it comes from Sara, lifted to around the penalty spot. Ampadu and Rodon up there, and Rodon heads it clear. Back out to Sara, tries to get past Rutter, who'd come out to engage him. Rutter hits it against Sara, and was he brought down? He was. Sara, as Rutter got dispossessed and just wrenched Sara to the ground. So it's a free kick right by the corner flag, left-hand side, 0-0.
It's just typical forward play, being in a defensive position. First of all, he tried to take him on and probably almost nutmeg him in the corner there, and then once he's lost the ball, he's pulled him down. You know, Rutter, I don't think, has held the ball up too well already today, but that's down the other end. When you're in that defensive position, you've got to be so careful.
So a free kick for Yanulis to maybe swinging right-footed, or it's Nunez actually that's going to take it. Very busy 6-yard box. In it comes and taken behind by Rodon, is it? It's actually been cleared before it goes behind for a corner by Jorginho Rutter.
That's better. Just get rid of it sometimes.
And he did, but there was nobody in white on halfway for Leeds United, so Norwich have it back again. Sara tries to tuck it in field, but Somerville gets a brief touch. Not really seen much of Crescencio Somerville in this opening 20 minutes for Leeds United. Such an important part of their attacking philosophy, and 19 goals to his name in the Championship this season. But the ball's back with Norwich City once again, and Marcelino Nunez just at the edge of his own penalty area, and he plays it out to the halfway line. Oh, Rodon stepping in well and intercepting for Leeds United. 4 to his left, he nicks it in field for the aforementioned Somerville. Somerville then gets wrestled out of it by Yanulis. Good tenacious work from the Greek left back for Norwich City, but Leeds have it back with Glenn Kamara. Now Rutter wriggles his way through a couple of challenges, but again Yanulis is there to win possession back. Kenny McLean works it out to the far left-hand side and then took back to the edge of the area. Nunez again getting involved with the 2 centre-halves for Norwich, but his ball intended for Jack Stacey is intercepted by Firpo, but he tried to cushion a header down for Nonto on the left wing, but Firpo got it all wrong. Norwich throw, 0-0.
Yeah, Norwich just look a bit more physically at it than Leeds United at the moment. I already mentioned about how Rutter's not really holding the ball up too well. Looks like he's trying to play in 3rd gear, whereas this game is 4th, if not 5th. And
Oh, Jonathan Rowe bursts over the halfway line for Norwich. Stacey on the overlap, but Rowe's cutting infield, trying to get past Firpo. Now Stacey's in plenty of space on the right-hand side. Gives it back to Rowe. Further infield to Josh Sargent, 30 yards out. Drops for Nunez, who cracks one left-footed, and it goes well wide of the angle of post and bar. They're getting closer, Norwich City, it seems. 0-0 the score.
Absolutely, and mentioned about Ruta, and the same with Somerville as well. He wants too much time in the ball, whereas Norwich, when they look to attack, they're really going for it at pace, and Leeds are very much on the back foot here. When you are on the back foot, obviously you make sure you don't concede, but if they keep on conceding these chances and giving away these free kicks and corners, then surely Norwich will have a better chance at some point to get that first goal.
Meslier clears left-footed downfield, but that sails over Rutter's head, and Duffy can just cushion a header back to his goalkeeper. Norwich have been in the playoffs twice before. They won last time against Middlesbrough in the Championship playoff final in 2015, 22 years ago. For some reason I remember this. They lost at the Millennium Stadium, as it was called then, in Cardiff, to Birmingham City in the 2002 playoff final on penalties. Darren Carter and all that.
You surprised me remembering that.
Don't know where that got dredged up from in my memory banks.
You could probably still give the whole commentary of that game.
I'd get close. I remember it was gut wrench. I feel for any supporter who has to go through the playoffs. And also I'd love to know what those teams who seem never likely to ever discover what the playoffs is like. Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool fans. Honestly, you've no idea. If you support one of those clubs and you wonder what the playoffs is like, what it does to your insides, you've no idea. Here's Josh Sargent for Norwich, midway through the first half at 0-0. Finds Jonathan Rowe, left-hand corner of the box. Jinks his way past Gruev, across the face of goal, but nobody there in canary yellow to tuck it away. But it is retrieved on this near side of the Norwich right by Nunez. Good ball into the box. Sara tries to turn it across the face of goal, and it's Ampadu to put it behind this time. Norwich's third corner of the half, 0-0.
Yeah, great ball whipped in, but no one was there, you have to say. And again, Norwich are knocking on the door. And it was Nunez who picked up the ball. If he was able to get just a couple of yards further on, then it would have been a pretty simple 8-yard shot first time in front of goal.
Short corner, work to the right-hand corner, given back to Nunez, who's offside as he received it back. And Leeds United will get themselves a free kick. And as we mentioned, Leeds have never won in the playoffs. This is their 6th attempt. Their most recent was against Derby County, then managed by Frank Lampard. Leeds had won the first leg at Pride Park, but then were turned over, and Scott Minto was there at Ellen Road. And having scored first in the second leg, they still contrived to lose it.
Yeah, they absolutely dominated that first leg.
The foul by Rutter on Ben Gibson as he tried to turn inside his own half, and Norwich take the free kick quickly.
But again, that's where I talk about the psychology of the playoffs. Leeds were the better side. Memory serves you right, they'd done the double over Derby as well, certainly won at least one of those and didn't lose to them in the league. Dominated that first leg, scored the first goal, but it's amazing how things can come crashing down really quickly.
That's the voice of Scott Minto, former West Ham, Chelsea and Benfica left back, alongside me Ian Danter here at Carrow Road. Don't forget we've got West Bromwich Albion against Southampton in that Championship semi-final first leg. Straight after this commentary we'll be off to the Hawthorn. Sam Matterface will still be your genial host, and Adam Bridge and Ray Houghton will be your commentary team at the Hawthorns. The Baggies against the Saints here at Carrow Road. 25 minutes played, still waiting for the deadlock to be broken. Norwich, who've had the lion's share of it, have possession with Shane Duffy. Finds Jack Stacey just beneath our commentary position as he jogs up to the halfway line, tucks it in field for Bortha Saints. Saints will swing play out to Giannoulis on the left-hand side, but he can't advance because Nonto was quickly across to close him down. But Norwich have played round them a bit, and Sara now spots Jack Stacey in acres of space on this right-hand side. Can he keep it in play at the dead ball line? No, he can't. As he got to it and tried to hook it back across the face of goal, the assistant on this near side flagged for a goal kick to Leeds United. Well, penny for the thoughts of Daniel Farker right now, because coming back to his old stomping ground, his Leeds side need to get a foothold in this game.
Absolutely. The stats suggest that Norwich are playing better, but there's not a big gap between the two sides. But the eyes are telling you there absolutely is. Leeds are not able to create too many chances going forward. They're losing the ball, not holding the ball up. Norwich looked physically really up for this one, buoyed on by their crowd, of course. Created chances without being lots of clear-cut chances, and I think that's the only thing that David Wagner will be thinking. We're the better side, we need to be scoring when we're on top.
Well, Sara took the ball away from Grief and he handled it on halfway. No yellow card from Josh Smith, but that is a free kick to Norwich just over the halfway line for the handball by Leeds United's defensive midfielder. Nunez has been wanting to take a quick one for the past 20 seconds, but then steps away so he can receive the ball back in his own half from Kenny McLean. Square ball across to his left, and Gibson for Norwich City up to the halfway line, gets his head up, looks for an option, plays a short pass into Saints. Now Duffy has it back just shy of the halfway line for Norwich, being closed down by Somerville, and Somerville gets his foot in and wins it back for Leeds United. And now Rutter's released Minto, ran to the edge of the area. Great challenge coming back from Marcelinho Nunez as Minto looked favourite to gallop into the penalty area. And now Norwich trying to release Sargent in behind Ampadu, but the ball's got too much on it and bounces through to Meslier. 0-0.
Brilliant tackle from Nunez. You have to say it's the one moment that Leeds look really dangerous with that possible counter-attack with the pace that they've got, whether it's Somerville or Minto. And it was Minto this time, and it's one of those tackles, Dan, that if you don't get right, there's a danger. Not only would you get a yellow card, but he was falling into the box. The referee could easily have given a penalty. Perfectly timed, though.
Here's Glenn Kamara for Leeds United. 28 minutes gone on Talksport in the EFL Championship playoff semi-final, first leg at Carrow Road. Norwich and Leeds locked at 0-0. Kamara again, he's got over the halfway line this time, but faced up by McLean, so he works it back to Grief, and a square ball across to Ethan Ampadu just over the halfway line into the feet of Junior Firpo, who comes in field to get away from Jack Stacey, who was tracking him. Back it goes into the centre circle for Ampadu and Roden, and now Kamara. Archie Gray is furthest forward at the moment for Leeds United. Rutter playing as the 10 just for the... He's all purpose, this 18-year-old, and he is just trying to play on the shoulder of Shane Duffy for the moment, Gray, as Leeds have it back on halfway with Ilya Grief. Now a run made by Rutter, not spotted. Somerville gets it back to the Leeds United defenders on halfway. They're just trying to pick their way through Norwich. They won it on a turnover to pick their way through Norwich before, but in open play, Scott Minto, it's tougher for Leeds United at this point.
They're finding it very, very difficult, and Norwich without the ball are kind of like a 4-4-2, defending really well, not showing any gaps at all for Leeds United to try and play the ball into.
But still goalless. Kamara up to halfway, neat touch infield from Firpo. Noncho tries to ride the challenge of McLean, and he's got it back, and he feeds it through. Rutter trying to get ahead of Jack Stacey. Oh, he's given the chance. Oh, the flag's gone up. Firpo rolled the ball into an empty net, but the flag had gone up for offside against Jorginho Rutter to spare Shane Duffy's blushes. And Norwich survive, and after all that, Leeds very nearly profited from a mistake at the back, as Shane Duffy let the ball get away from him as he toe-poked the ball past his own keeper. But the offside flag saves him. 0-0.
No, absolutely. I have to say, really good play from Leeds. A little bit lucky early on, but there was good 1-2 touch play, and Shane Duffy has to go for it. The keeper's not coming out. He's not shouting at all, Angus Gunn. He's got to communicate better. Certainly got away with that, Norwich. It was a good decision, though. Rutter was offside.
But that will encourage Leeds United, that there's something in this game for them to take back to Ellen Road for the second leg.
But that's what they need to do, Dan. They need to get hold of the ball. They need to pass it quickly, 1-2 touch, not just, lackadaisical and play in second gear. No, this is a Norwich side that they feel they need to take a lead of some sort back to Ellen Road. So they're up for it, are Leeds United, and up until that moment we haven't really seen that.
Second leg live on Talksport on Thursday night at Ellen Road, whilst the second leg of Southampton West Brom will be on Friday night, also on Talksport, to find out who goes to Wembley for the right to go into next season's Premier League. Here is Ben Gibson for Norwich. Half an hour gone on Talksport, 0-0. But just that sense that Leeds United are starting to find a bit of confidence after Norwich have been very good in terms of ball retention and creating half chances in this opening quarter. Leeds have won it back again. Roden tries to get something on it, but the ball ricochets back into Norwich's path, and Sargent releases Stacey, who can gallop into the Leeds United half. Only now Firpo comes to close him down. The cross from Stacey's too deep, ahead of everybody, including Sainz, who is, I think, his target at the far post on the left-hand side, and it's gone behind. In fact, has it gone up for a throw? It has. Leeds have a throw in their right-back position. 0-0.
Well, I'll tell you what, first of all, well done Jack Stacey for finding space, but two, just an overhit ball. So a positive and a negative there, and at that particular moment I have to see whether he's changed it, Daniel Farker. Somerville has gone up alongside Ruta, and Archie Gray has gone on to Kenny McLean, which means that Nonto was out on the left and he just let Stacey go. So that's a possibility for the fullback to try and see if he switches off all the time. Going to try and get down that right hand side as much as possible and create some kind of assist.
Scott Minto alongside me, Ian Danter here at Carrow Road. 32 minutes gone, 0-0. Norwich in possession with Marcelino Nunez, who will roll the ball into the feet of Gabriel Sara. Good challenge from Junior Firpo, but McLean quickly onto the loose ball and trying to release Stacey down the right hand side. He does keep it in play, but has to turn away from the dead ball line. Jonathan Rowe goes over Junior Firpo and gets a free kick for Norwich down the right hand side of the penalty area at the river end. 0-0.
Yeah, it's a definite foul. It's not a yellow card. The way he kind of jumped up and fell to the ground, the whole crowd were probably hoping for that, but good play, you have to say, from Jonathan Rowe, but also from Jack Stacey. Again, he was very nearly in. If that ball out to the right hand side and in behind the Leeds defence wasn't overhit, Jack Stacey would have been in behind and he could have put in a really good ball and a really dangerous ball for Josh Sargent or anyone else who was up to get there.
Well, Gabriel Sara will whip this in, you can be sure, with pace on his left foot. So the free kick is almost level with the corner of the penalty area, maybe a yard or two down towards the dead ball line on Norwich's right hand side as they attack the river end in this first half. Sara standing over it, two-man wall protecting Mellier's near post. In it comes from Sara, headed up and out by Archie Gray to the edge of the area. Nunez trying to make something of it for Norwich, but Glenn Kamara got something on it, and Rutter drifts out to the right hand side, gets a foul, and it's a free kick to Leeds. I've had a message from Jeff, a friend of mine, who said, I was a Chelsea fan at Stamford Bridge when we got relegated to League Two in a playoff against Charlton. Abysmal day. So yeah, Chelsea do have experience of the playoffs.
League Two, that was Division 2, wasn't it? Yeah, that was when what was it, third
relegated
or fourth
and the bottom, it's like what they do in Scotland still, where
absolutely,
where teams from other divisions take each other on.
Funny enough, I was in the Charlton youth team. We played a youth game that day. We were driven in the bus in our Charlton tracksuits to Stamford Bridge to watch it. And let's just say, sitting in the Chelsea, amongst the Chelsea fans, it didn't go down well. People wearing, even though we were only 16, 17, wearing Charlton tracksuits.
I'm sure you handled it. You just sat between two of the bigger fellas.
I sat between the two centre halves.
Scott Minto alongside me this afternoon. 10 minutes to half time, just over that in actual fact. Norwich City 0, Leeds United 0. Here is Bortha Sainz for Norwich, midway point of his own half, has to guide it back to his keeper Angus Gunn. Made his Scotland debut last year. He'll be in the squad that goes with Steve Clarke and go out to Germany for next month's Euros. 11 clean sheets this season for Gunn in 40 appearances in the Championship. But he's gone down to the other end in Mellier, who's kept 18 in his clean sheets, that is, in his 44 appearances in the Championship. Still just 24 years of age, Ilan Mellier.
It's amazing to think Leeds won 27 league games and they've only won more than that in the season once, and that was Bielsa's promotion season. They're only 3 points off that total that Bielsa got, and yet still they're in the playoffs.
Firpo for Leeds United, plays the ball infield to Somerville, left hand corner of the penalty area, tries to ride the challenge, he has done, of Duffy. Somerville into the area to the dead ball line and then trips over his own feet, and the ball just goes behind into the advertising hoardings at the Barclay end, to the delight of those in green and yellow behind the goal to our left. 0-0.
Well, look, he's the EFL Player of the Year, and over a whole season it's been sensational. You mentioned 19 goals, also 9 assists. But the last few weeks he hasn't quite been at that level, and he's been very quiet today. That was the one opportunity where you're inside the box, the defender doesn't want to make a challenge for fear of giving away a penalty, and yet he goes in between his feet and goes off for a goal kick.
More live and exclusive football for you from the Premier League tomorrow night. Aston Villa against Liverpool. Villa know that Spurs won yesterday. I was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so still going to get points on the board if Champions League is to be achieved, it seems, Aston Villa. Meanwhile, Leeds coming forward with Minto. Finds Kamara, right wing, pulls it back into the area, but he only found Kenny McLean. There were 4 Leeds players in the box waiting for a cross, but McLean got there first. Norwich clear up to Sargent, and Sargent with a very intelligent crossfield ball left to right to pick out Jack Stacey, who gets over the halfway line. The roar around us from the Norwich fans wanting their side to get themselves back on the front foot here. 0-0 the score. Norwich elect to go back into their own half and calm things down a little.
Yeah, right decision from Stacey. Wanted to try and push on if he could, but he looked up. He would have been forcing a ball. So again, if you can't actually try and counter-attack quickly, then just don't give the ball away. Just keep it. And that's what Norwich did.
Leeds have won their last 4 against Norwich. They won 3-2 here in October. Somerville, who you just mentioned, scored twice that day. And Patrick Bamford got the winner in January at Ellen Road in the reverse fixture.
Well, I tell you what, it's the reason why Jack Stacey's doing so well at the moment. You know, though both those games, Somerville was superb, and that would be in his mind, even though that was a good few sort of months ago. That would be in his mind going to bed last night thinking, right, I'm up against a guy who gave me a tough time. We're going to be playing in front of the cameras and the whole world watching. I mean, obviously he's an experienced guy. He knows what it's like in these situations, and certainly for promotion. But when you're up against someone you know can hurt you as a fullback, it's I bet he didn't have a full night's sleep.
7 minutes plus added time to half-time. Apparently there were fireworks outside the Leeds hotel last night, so I don't know how much sleep they got. So
yeah, a bit naughty that.
It's a bit of it's a naughty trend that's sort of creeping in more and more. I get the feeling that football teams are going to have to find an underground bunker to sleep in the night before critical matches to...
or at your stance?
What, my underground bunker? They can't stay there. There's too many guitars in the way. Free kick on halfway to Leeds United. Ampadu will roll it back to Gruyev. And now Kamara gives it back to the Bulgarian. Very important signing, Ilya Gruyev. Joined from Werder Bremen. Hasn't scored for Leeds, but that's not really his job. He's very much a midfield destroyer. Now Somerville's got him behind Stacey for Lee into the area. Tries to pull it back for Nonto, but Giannoulis comes across from left back and clears from the edge of the D to keep it away from Nonto. Good defending by Giannoulis. Kamara will find Junior Firpo on this near side. Archie Gray can't get past Jack Stacey. Throw in to Leeds United. 6 minutes to the break. 0-0 on Talksport in the EFL Championship semi-final first leg. And Leeds go out to the far right-hand side, and Sam Byron, former Norwich player, moves to Leeds United from Norwich last year. Began in the Leeds Academy, so he's returned to Leeds United for a second spell. Not heard many boos come his way from the home fans, as often happens when a returning player comes back. It's quite generous, and he's going to get it again on this far side of the field for Leeds United. Just steps away from Sainz and guides it back to the 2 centre-halves, Roden and now Ampadu. Then Kamara picks it up now, placed up by Gabriel Sara.
This is better play from Leeds though, just taking the sting out of the situation. You know, just trying to keep the ball. Norwich have been the better side in the first half. Look, the most likely to score, and David Wagner will be disappointed that they haven't, because they have been on top. But now that, let's say, Leeds just keeping the ball, and what happens?
They give it away. Jonathan Rowe flicks it neatly away from Glenn Kamara, and Gabriel Sara is making tracks down this near side, the Norwich right. Just slips as he tried to turn back in field. Glenn Kamara gets back at him, and then Rowe wins the ball back from Firpo, and then he's caught by Archie Gray, and Norwich have a free kick about 20 yards inside the Leeds half of the field. 5 to the break, 0-0.
It was good refereeing, I have to say. There was a couple of times where he perhaps could have given a foul, but no, he's saying it's a man's game. Let's really give it a go.
Well, Rowe's back on his feet. It's his first start for Norwich since January. 12 goals this season, a real breakthrough campaign for Jonathan Rowe from the Norwich Academy. And he's just drifting towards the edge of the penalty area. Jack Stacey standing over this free kick. He's just going to hit a diagonal ball, it seems, to the left-hand corner of the Leeds penalty area. In fact, he's just rolled it to his immediate left, and Gabriel Sara, he hits the diagonal, looking for Giannoulis on the far side of the penalty area. Lets the ball run across his body, tries to hit it in from the dead ball line, only half cleared by Leeds. Back to Nunez, just ahead of the halfway line for Norwich. Square ball back in field to Gabriel Sara in front of the centre circle. Lovely drill pass out to Giannoulis, left-hand side. Early cross, deflects into the path of Sainz at the edge of the area. Was trying to engineer space for a shot for a moment. But then Nunez tries to find Jonathan Rowe with a diagonal to the right-hand dead ball line. But Meslier, very comfortable claim from the Leeds keeper. We've got 3 minutes of normal time to go in the first half. It's still 0-0, Scott Minto.
Yeah, Norwich have been the better side of that, there's no doubt, but they've not really created any chances, clear-cut chances.
And now Archie Gray trying to get away down the right-hand side. Just ran out of room, but he did win a throw for Leeds United. Just down the right-hand side, just before the split between home and away fans in that south stand opposite our commentary position here. Leeds heading for the Barclay end to our left in this first half. Minto works it in field, but Norwich clear. Sara inside his own half. Glenn Kamara, great strength. Oh, he's been given us a foul. That's a bit unfortunate for Glenn Kamara. I thought he won it cleanly, but referee Josh Smith disagrees, and he's the man in charge.
Well, I was just saying about how he was letting things go, and when I said man's game, I mean physical game. But you know, that for me was actually good physical play from Kamara. He's showed the strength there. He's won the ball. Not a foul there.
Norwich in possession with their two centre-halves. Ben Gibson, son of Steve Gibson, the Middlesbrough long-standing owner. Middlesbrough at one point did have designs on a playoff push, but not quite at the end under Michael Carrick. They'll be a team to watch next year, I would say, particularly with the form of Emmanuel Latte-Lap, with the goals he got towards the end of the season. Long ball downfield is aimless for Norwich City. Just drifted straight out of play for a Leeds throw. And I'm sure Daniel Farke will be happy to get Leeds back in at 0-0 at the break. What about David Wagner's thoughts as we approach half-time, Scott?
Well, he'll be disappointed that they haven't scored and certainly created, sort of, with all the play that they've had and the passion they've showed and the intensity they've given. They haven't really tested Meslier as yet. You're right, Daniel Farke will be absolutely delighted that they're going in, or looks like they're going to go in level. They've not had a shot on target yet. They've shown at times they can look dangerous. There was that one moment where they did stick the ball in the back of the net. It was definitely right to be ruled out for offside, but Norwich have been the better side.
And Norwich clipped the ball up to halfway, but a very clever cushion header from Ilya Gruyev keeps it in play for Leeds United. Throw-in given to the away side. I think the Leeds fans opposite us wanted more than that. Thought there was a hefty challenge on Wilfred Gnonto. Nothing doing, says the referee. And Sam Byram throws the ball back into his own half for first Joe Rodon and then Ethan Ampadu. Now Firpo's got a bit of space to turn and head towards the halfway line. Plays the ball in field for Glenn Kamara, but he's been watched by Nunez. Now a diagonal ball hit into out by Ethan Ampadu, kept in play on that far side by Byram. But then there's a foul by Minto and Giannoulis, and Norwich get a free kick inside their own half, and a yellow card for Minto for having too much to say about that free kick award to the referee. Yellow card, first of the afternoon, 0-0.
He's got booked for clapping the ref. I mean, one, it was a foul, it was the right decision, but two, I don't see how that's a yellow card.
1 minute of added time is what we're into now. I saw Laurent Assignon for Burnley yesterday nearly took himself into 2 yellow cards for dissent in quick succession. He only got the one, but he was very lucky that some of the things he was doing behind the referee's back weren't spotted.
The officials could have told him then.
Well, maybe, but I think they spared him.
No, look, he's obviously feeling frustrated. He's not been able to get too much on the ball. It was a foul, but it's a clap. It's a sarcastic clap. Just get on with it.
So the first booking goes the way of Wilfred Gnonto, and the minute of minimum stoppage time is just about elapsed. All eyes on Josh Smith, and there goes the half-time whistle. We're a quarter of the way through this playoff encounter. between Norwich City and Leeds United, and nothing to separate them in terms of the scoreline. Norwich had the better probably of the opening 20-25 minutes, forced a few corners, but Ilan Meslier never really forced into a meaningful save. At the other end, Leeds did have the ball in the back of the net when Shane Duffy and Angus Gunn got in a terrible mix-up with the back pass. Jorginho Rutter rolled the ball into an empty net, but the flag went up for offside to deny the Leeds United striker the chance to give Daniel Farke's men an advantage on Farke's return to Carrow Road. So at the break, we wait for the breakthrough in the EFL playoffs. It's Norwich City 0, Leeds United 0.
Later on Talksport 2, it is the Women's FA Cup final. Here we have the second semi-final at the Hawthorns as well, 2:15. And then the Sunday session remains at Old Trafford for Arsenal's visit later on today. Tomorrow on Talksport, Aston Villa against Liverpool. Tuesday night, we've got live and exclusive commentary of what could be a pivotal night at Tottenham when Manchester City come to town. Scott Minto's been watching that first half. Norwich have won just one of their last 7 home games against Leeds, but they've more than competed in that first half, despite not really testing Meslier. Just one shot on target. Was that a wasted opportunity for Norwich? Because you said before they need a lead to take to Elland Road.
Yeah, do you know what? I think they probably do, Sam. But again, because we talked about Leeds and because we talked about the power of Elland Road, both from a positive and sometimes can be a negative way for the players, no idea how that second leg's going to go. So I think, in one sense, don't even think about what you have to do to take into the second leg, because that will then put pressure on you and you might be too open here and you end up losing the game. Yeah, of course they want to try and win this game and take some kind of leads into the second leg, but the important thing is to play well, create chances and do what you're being asked to do. And to a point they've done just that. I think they've looked sharper, I think they've looked better, I think they've looked quicker on the counter-attack. But as you say, they haven't really tested Meslier yet. Some balls have come in. They've had opportunities with set pieces, both corners and free kicks as well. But that final ball just hasn't been good enough. So they need to step it up. They have been the better side, but it's not been good enough to get that goal. Leeds, you feel, will get better in the second half. But again, they don't need to go out and win the game. They'll take 0-0 right now. So there's no doubt about it. Norwich just need to step it up now.
Yeah, I mean, Leeds had a penalty shout, didn't they? Nonto certainly was fouled by Boyer's sides. I thought it was a foul, to be honest with you, but I thought maybe the significant contact happened just outside the box. Are Leeds right to feel aggrieved?
I think they are, because even though they haven't played particularly well here, in terms of that incident, yes, it started outside, but I do think it went on inside and he ended up going down there. And look, he had one, if not two arms around him. He went for the tackle, didn't get the ball and definitely made contact. The question is, was it enough contact for him to go down? I think there probably was, but again, this is where fans of non-VAR, should we say, need to sort of say, well, look, we've just got to go with the referee's decision. That's how he saw it, in real play, fast speed, with him being as close to the incident as possible. He decided it wasn't a penalty, so just go with it.
Willie Gnonto had a few flashes. Somerville not really able to get into the game, but there's always a chance he comes to life later in the match, like he did and Leeds did in the league fixture at Carrow Road earlier in the season. They'll probably be better in the second half than they were in the first. Why did you think it wasn't clicking?
I think Norwich played with a higher intensity. I think Leeds played as if it's a two-legged game and they're playing away from home in the first leg, and they don't really need to play with that same intensity. At times, Rutter was playing in second, third gear, where the two centre halves of Norwich were really getting at him. The two wingers the same as well. I think going forward, while they have got the ball in the back of the net and they perhaps should have had a penalty, I think they've been pretty poor going forward. As I say, I don't think they're playing with the same level of intensity, and I think Daniel Farke needs to say to his team, look, we really need to step it up with that intensity side of things in that second half. Otherwise, we will go back to Elland Road being a goal or two down, and that's something they don't want to do. If they concede the first goal here and they go 1-0 down, there's every chance with the crowd and the atmosphere and the belief then that Norwich will have that they could go on and get that second. So I think it's very important to negate Norwich going forward by being better with the ball, on the ball, and getting forward themselves as well.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure about Archie Gray's position. They don't seem to have a proper number 10 to link with Rutter, which became a bit of an issue for them. I think maybe they'll change that in the second half. Scott, thank you very much. Junior Firpo did have the ball in the net, was ruled out for offside. It's still 0-0 at the break, and we're going to head to Wembley next.
at
EFL Live on Talksport with McDonald's. Fancy a filet-o-fish in time for the final whistle? Order McDelivery now on the McDonald's app and get tasty reward points delivered too. 18 plus. Rewards account required. Participating restaurants. Subject to availability. Delivery fees and terms apply.
OK, don't be nervous. It's just a speech. Oh no. What's this? An urge for a delicious fridge milkshake? Not now. Focus. Today fills me with pride. Thick, creamy pride.
Together, it's the father of the bride.
Just a minute. It's okay, they'll forgive me. In a year or two.
Muller Fridge. Feel the urge.
On Talksport with McDonald's. Fancy a filet-o-fish in time for the final whistle? Order McDelivery now on the McDonald's app and get tasty reward points delivered too. 18 plus. Rewards account required. Participating restaurants. Subject to availability. Delivery fees and terms apply.
Ready for some quick football trivia? Question 1. Which football club is known as the Tigers? Cambridge United or Hull City? Question 2. Which team plays its home games at Deepdale? Preston North End or Rochdale? Final question. What are you betting on? Free time or family time? To keep it an enjoyable experience, take time to think. And let's play responsibly. Sky Bet. For the fans. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
We're not a bit Spanish. We're not vaguely Spanish. Somewhat Spanish or Spanish. Estrella Galicia Cerveza is 100% Spanish. Just look for the label. Brewed slowly for 5 generations in A Coruña, using the finest Galician ingredients. So as a 100% authentic Spanish beer, it's time we say, cheers to the pretenders. We'll take it from here. Estrella Galicia. Spanish, not Spanish.
Here we go again. Running a small business, I should be used to early mornings. Gotta stay ahead of the competition. After all, the early bird catches the sun loungers by the pool.
With an American Express business card, spend securely and earn points on business transactions to put towards your dream holiday.
Right by the bar as well.
The card is for business. The points are for pleasure. Search Amex Business Card. Terms and annual fees apply. 18 plus, subject to status.
Don't know where to start your next paint project? At Wix, find all the inspiration and help you'll need. Plus, Dulux standard 2.5 litre coloured emulsion was £21, now £15. Terms apply.
This football season, if you're looking to get involved in all the action, then look no further. At Betfair, we've made it faster and easier to build your ACCA this football season. Celebrate this weekend with a completely free ACCA or Bet Builder on football. Betfair.
Opt-in and previous deposit required. Max free bet varies from £1 to £10 per customer. Minimum odds of 1.5 on minimum one leg. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Get an expert guide to all the latest speculation, signings and spending sprees with Simon Jordan's Football Business Roundup on Talksport with Tesco Mobile for Business. From the latest deals worth knowing to where the big money transfers are going. Get the inside track in one all-covering football finance feature. Simon Jordan's Football Business Roundup on Talksport with Tesco Mobile for Business. Join Tesco Mobile and get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. Tesco Mobile. Every little helps. For applicable terms and verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave, on DAB, online and on your smart speaker.
What a goal! Championship playoff semi-final.
Live on Talksport.
Half-time at Carrow Road, it's Norwich City 0, Leeds United 0 in the Championship semi-final playoff first leg. We've got West Brom against Southampton later for you live on Talksport, and the Women's FA Cup final is live on Talksport too. Let's get the latest live from Box Park ahead of that game, all thanks to Carling.
The Adobe Women's FA Cup build-up on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Adobe Women's FA Cup and Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
And whilst the men's team are concentrating on trying to scrap their way into European football here this afternoon, Manchester United's women's side take on Tottenham in the FA Cup final live on Talksport 2 at 2:30. And Maya Graham is speaking to fans ahead of that game.
Hi Sam, yeah, I'm here in Box Park. The atmosphere is absolutely electric. Funnily enough, in Box Park there's mixed fans today, so United and Spurs have both been able to get in. And I do have some family friends or some friends that play sport together. Got Ellie and Dan. One's in a Spurs shirt and one's in a United shirt. So guys, just tell me how you were able to make it here today without ripping each other's hair out.
So we've been playing sport together for a few months now, and we all wanted to come and join together, but I've been a diehard Spurs fan since I was basically born into it, and Dan's been a big fan for a while as well, so it was like we've got to put differences aside for once and just get on and enjoy the game, I think.
Until the game starts.
Yes, yeah.
Not friends when kick-off. No.
90 minutes where we won't be friends, and then one of us won't talk about it at training for the foreseeable future, and that's how it goes.
And in terms of the women's game in general, this is just an incredible turnout, a sold-out Wembley. Have you been a fan of the women's game for long? And if so, how amazing has the growth been?
Oh, it's been amazing. I've been playing since I was about 5 years old, to over 20 years now, and it's just, I remember going to Bristol to watch an FA Cup final with 5,000 people, and to be sat in a 90,000 crown Wembley is just incredible.
And just in terms of a bit of game preview stuff, Spurs and United didn't meet too long ago in the league, 2-2, the points shared. Do you think that experience United can draw from it? Because people are calling them the favourites today, but Spurs were good in that game, weren't they?
I'm excited to see the game, because I think we've been up and down this year. We haven't been consistent enough. We've been good in patches, but I think Spurs are really doing well this year. They've done the best of the lot. I've actually been to a couple of their games and been very, very impressed with them. They've beat Arsenal at home, so on their day they can really do anything, and that's what we've probably got to be a bit wary about. We can't switch off. We can't go into it with a bit of cockiness and confidence, and the Spurs girls will just rip us apart if we do that. So yeah, got to be really careful of that. I'm excited for it, though.
Finally, going to get a quick score prediction?
I'm going to go with 2-1 United.
I'm going 1-0 Spurs.
Well, I'm not sure if these two will be friends after 90 minutes. Atmosphere is absolutely building. It's electric. Couple of hours to kick off here still. Back to you, Sam.
Yeah, well, Manchester United do have Mark Skinner in the dugout. He also took Birmingham to the final in 2017. He lost actually in last year's final, and he wants it to be third time lucky. I'm sure some of those fans that Meyer's been speaking to hope that he is successful today. Thank you very much. Manchester United Tottenham kicks off at 2:30, Talksport 2. That was a look at the Women's FA Cup final, thanks to Carling.
The Adobe Women's FA Cup build-up on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Adobe Women's FA Cup and Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Adam Bridges at the Hawthorns ahead of the second playoff game today. West Brom against Southampton kicks off at 2:15. Adam, he's called King Carlos by the Baggies fans, and they say he hasn't spent a penny, and there are 3 games away from the Premier League. How have West Brom done this?
He's a miracle worker, I think, Sam. Although if you speak to Carlos, his plan this season was always to try and get in the playoffs. I think the expectation, given the resources at his fingertips, was that would be quite difficult. So there's very much an air around the stadium today in the build-up to kick off at 2:15 of, do you know what? It doesn't matter what's gone before. It doesn't matter that Southampton have beaten us twice this season. This is a free hit for us. It's 180 minutes. Let's just try and get ourselves to Wembley any which way we can. And he will have a plan, because he's a bit of a tinkerer, and he always has a plan for these kind of occasions.
Meetings with every single one of his players that takes 15 minutes before every single game. So if you can imagine that over the course of a day, I mean, that's a very long time to be spent in meetings. He has one-on-one meetings that last 15 minutes with every single player. How does he fit that into his calendar?
He's meticulous, and I know they say that about a lot of managers, but he is the first in the training ground and he is the last one to leave of an evening. And you talk to someone like Darnell Furlong, who was magnificent last week against Preston, and I've mentioned to him a couple of times in post-match interviews, you seem to be playing in a different position today. You're not really playing as a fullback. And he said every game, before the game, we go through the detail, and he's always asking something different of me, and he's always challenging me, and that is why he's making me a better footballer. And that's what he's done here. He has improved several of these players. I mean, Cedric Kipre is the perfect example. Could not get a look in here since he was signed in 2020. This season, he was player of the season. He's been our most consistent at centre-half.
Southampton have a clear style under Russell Martin. It's been tweaked, it's been adapted. They've beat West Brom twice. It's a real clash of styles. In 10 seconds, tell me what to expect.
They outplayed them here when they met on a Friday night. They were much the better team. It was West Brom's worst performance of the season. I think it'll be tight, it'll be edgy, it will be combative, and West Brom just want to stay in the game heading to St Mary's.
Good stuff, looking forward to it. 2:15 live on Talksport with Adam Bridge and Ray Houghton. Scott Minto's back in situ ahead of the second half. Josh Sargent should have scored in that first half, shouldn't he?
Yes, I mean, what I would say is, he's been very much, even though Norwich have had a lot of the play, there's not many times he's actually received the ball going at goal. And I think sometimes when you're a striker, when you've not really been involved too much in the game, despite your team being the better side, when a chance does come to you, you're kind of not ready for it. But that's absolutely crucial that in the second half, if something similar happens, that he is able to stick the ball in the back of the net, because, as I say, we've sort of said we still don't know, more so with Ellen Road than any other place in the Championship, how that's going to go for the home team in the second leg. But Norwich in the first half were the better side and need to make sure they try and get something going into the second leg.
Yeah, Jack Stacey's cross was really good. He was just put off by the defender, but from that sort of range he really needs to be finding the back of the net. 7 of the last 8 goals that Norwich City have conceded have come in the second half. That might well give Leeds encouragement ahead of a belting second 45 on the menu alongside Scott Minto. It's Talksport's Ian Danter.
Thanks, Sam. Don't forget, Sam is at Old Trafford this afternoon, and once we brought you the full commentary of West Brom against Southampton, the Sunday session will continue. Alex Crook and Perry Gross alongside Sam. Regular updates from Old Trafford for Manchester United against Arsenal in that crucial Premier League encounter. But the players are just emerging from the tunnel just below to our right here at Carrow Road. Leeds have won their last 4 against Norwich, and they've won 8 of their last 11 meetings going further back, so they do have something of the sign over their opponent. And I was just talking to you, Scott, about half-time about I think Norwich just need to have that bit more belief in themselves that they can go at Leeds United.
Yeah, when you've played a team twice already this season and you've lost both times, there can be that little bit of inferiority complex. I don't think there is here today, I have to say. I think they've been the better side. They've played at a higher intensity. They've been in 4th, 5th gear, whereas Leeds, I think, have been in 3rd and playing as if they want to try and take a draw. But they do need to create better chances, and Sam mentioned about Josh Sargent and the chance that he had.
Josh Smith just had a go at the Leeds United goalkeeping coach. He was doing kicking in practice with Meslier when everybody was ready for the kick-off, and the Leeds goalkeeping coach hadn't realised. He just got a bit of a ticking off from Josh Smith. And we are back underway on Talksport at Carrow Road in beautiful bright sunshine. I hope the weather hasn't broken quite yet where you are, although I know that the heavy rain is on the way.
Don't mention it
later today. Well, it's coming, I can't ignore it. I'll run you through the lineups in just a minute. In fact, I'll do that now as the ball's clipped downfield into the path of Ilan Meslier. For Norwich, Gunn is the keeper. Stacey, Duffy, Gibson, Yanulis, Nunez, McLean, Rowe, Sara, Sainz and Sargent. For Leeds, Meslier, then Byram, Roden, Ampadu, Firpo, Gruyev, Kamara, Gray, Gnonto, Somerville and Rutter. Ball's out of play for a Leeds United throw on halfway. So Leeds in all white will be attacking the river end, also known as the Regency stand, away to our right hand side in this second period. Norwich in the yellow and green, kicking from right to left as we look from the back of the City stand. So Norwich heading for the Barclay end to our immediate left, and our commentary position is closer to the Barclay end than the river end as Meslier strikes it left-footed downfield, but Leeds can't profit. Sainz goes down, told to get up by the referees. Archie Gray retrieves possession for Leeds United. Gruyev passes over halfway short to Gnonto, and Gnonto, well, he won a free kick. He was barged into by Bortha Sainz, who looked like he caught something in the throat as Gnonto flailed his arm back, but the offence was Bortha Sainz's first of all, and that's a free kick to Leeds United, 0-0.
Yeah, Gnonto was fouled first of all. The referee played advantage. He got up and almost tried to push Sainz off and caught him in the windpipe, so it was a little bit painful for him, but
Gnonto, of
not
course,
foul.
was booked in the yellow in the first half, Willie Gnonto, so he does have to be a little bit careful after a bit of dissent saw him into the referee's notebook. Norwich clear their lines from their own dead ball line. Sargent wrestling for possession with Ampadu and Grief. Nothing doing, says the referee, as Leeds United win it back. 1 or 2 balloons just drifting across the playing surface in canary yellow. Good turn from Crescencio Somerville. Looks to find Sam Byram, the former Norwich player, and he can't keep it in play. Looked like he'd intelligently cushioned the header up in the air and then could bring it down, but the assistant on this near side flagged for a throw. 0-0.
He was unlucky, wasn't he? The ball was far too high for him. He tried to sort of head it up and cushion it. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't quite able to keep it in. But I do think from an attacking point of view, and Leeds just can't keep on playing for this kind of 0-0 draw, which it feels in a way that they are. They needed 2 wide players more involved. Ruta needs to hold up the ball better as well. And I just think the Archie Gray as the number 10, he's almost playing as a second striker. You know, he's not a number 10 and he's definitely not a second striker. So he needs to try and drop in a little bit more as well and help out and getting the ball through the thirds. At the moment, I'm not able to get Ruta on the ball in exactly where he wants to be in the box.
Clear shove in the back on Glenn Kamara by Jack Stacey. Leeds have a free kick on halfway. 3 minutes gone in the second half, still goalless. We'll get team news from Adam Bridge in the next 10 minutes or so for our second commentary of the afternoon. Back-to-back Championship playoff commentaries here on Talksport, your home of the EFL. West Brom Southampton on the way straight after this. Here is Jonathan Rowe for Norwich City, guiding the ball up to the halfway line, protects it well, and he's fed it through to the ball to Sainz, who's in behind Byron, but then Byron retrieves it, and another challenge that a defender absolutely had to make, like the one that Nunez made in the first half, and Sainz looked to have broken clear, but Byron swept it away for a throw-in in the end. 0-0.
Yeah, brilliant tackle, really was. You say need to be perfectly timed. They gave the ball away, Leeds, and suddenly is Norwich on the counter-attack. And once he got into the box, from a defender's point of view, you're thinking, do I to make this tackle? He did. It was brilliant.
Sainz in space to deliver a cross from the left-hand side. Good ball in, just above the head of Josh Sargent. Firpo protected the ball away from Jonathan Rowe, and Kamara will fire it left-footed downfield in front of the Leeds fans on that far side. And a poor defensive header from Duffy gives the ball straight back to Leeds in the centre circle with Archie Gray. Now Gruyev can dart up to the halfway line and stops on the halfway line before he's closed down by Sainz. Just rolls it gently back into his own half for Ampadu. Kamara out to the left-hand side, and Firpo patient once again from Leeds United. Gruyev back out to Junior Firpo on the far left-hand side. Very little of this playing surface is in shade. Just a yard or two from that far left-hand touchline is in shade. The rest bathed in this beautiful early afternoon sunshine. Meslier, dreadful ball, looking to find Roden, passed it behind his centre half. Norwich have a throw on this left-hand side, taken quickly by Sargent. Here's Sainz scampering towards the edge of the area. Ball ricochets away from him, and Leeds bring it clear. And it's a lovely layout from Somerville, who's cleaned out by Shane Duffy. And then Rowe slides in to stop Kamara getting away, but nevertheless Jorginho Rutter continues down the inside left channel for Leeds United, drives for the byline against Stacey, and it's been given as a goal kick. And will the referee give Shane Duffy a yellow card for that earlier challenge? I think he will. He has
to. He absolutely took him out. I think he's just trying to work out now who he is and where he is. Rightly so, yellow card. But well done from him for allowing play to continue as well.
Somerville's still down from that challenge, and it's a good minute, and he was cleaned out from behind by Shane Duffy, and it's only now that the Leeds physios are coming on to treat Somerville, so there'll be a little break in play. So don't forget, build up and all the action, full commentary from the Women's FA Cup final is happening right now on Talksport 2. Jackie Oatley with all the build up, and we'll get the team news from Joe Shannon in the next 20 minutes. He'll be your match commentator for that game. 26,982 here at Carrow Road, with just a shade under 2,000 Leeds fans having coming down the A1 and across to Norfolk to support their team.
I'm sure if they were allowed, it would have been the full 26,000 Leeds fans here as well.
Oh, these are the games you could sell twice over at any stadium,
especially with a club like Leeds.
Indeed. and Ellen Road will be packed to the rafters, and that, from personal experience, is one of the noisiest places to go and watch football.
Absolutely.
Anywhere in this country. That'll be Thursday night on Talksport for the second leg, whatever the scoreline is here, that is taken up to Ellen Road. Somerville back on his feet, I'm pleased to say, but having had treatment, he's now going to wait that regulation 30 seconds from the restart before he can re-enter the field of play.
Yeah, and what's been interesting as well, just in the last 3 or 4 minutes, he's been playing more centrally as well, allowing Firpo to try and get down the left-hand side, which, to be fair to Jack Stacey, he'll be absolutely delighted with that. We talked about how, you know, he found it difficult early in the season in both matches. At this moment in time, the fullback's winning that individual battle.
Norwich City 0, Leeds United 0. 7 gone in the second half. Yanulis breaking down the left-hand side, onside, pulls it back to the edge of the area, swept wide by Gabriel Sara. Best chance of the half came to Norwich City. Yanulis broke the offside trap down the left-hand side. An intelligent pull back towards the edge of the area. Sara rushing in, tried to sweep it goalwards, but it was a yard or so wide of Mellier's right-hand post. Goal kick 0-0.
Yeah, Saints looked offside to me down the left-hand side when the ball came, but it was a really good cutback. And, well, look, your edge of the box has come at you very, very quickly. With Sara quality and the technique that he's got to be hitting the target there.
Mellier clears downfield. Duffy heads it away under pressure from Rutter. Drops on the halfway line for Leeds United and Junior Firpo. Now Kamara takes over. Somerville just ahead of him, but former Rangers man darts in field. Well dispossessed as Norwich win it back. Sargent just can't get hold of the ball as it dribbles past him over the halfway line, and Leeds once again in possession. Now Nonto is caught late, and Yanulis is going to get a yellow card. It looked like he won the ball, but he went through the man to get to the ball, I think, Scott Minto. 0-0.
Back in my day, Dance, that was a great tackle. Ball and man. You can't do that nowadays, I'm afraid. And you can see exactly how Norwich are trying to defend against these wingers. They know how much they can hurt them, but he's come right through the back of him. He's not even got the ball. He's just got the man.
And there was a bit of a follow-through from the right foot into the midriff of Nonto.
Well, if you're going to just get the man and you know you're going to get booked, do it properly. He's done it properly.
Old school advice from Scott Minto on Talksport this Sunday afternoon. Remind me not to anger you. Leeds have taken the free kick. Back to the halfway line, and Joe Roden. And he plays the ball out to the right wing, and the former Norwich man Sam Byram cuts in field from the right-hand touchline, with Leeds attacking the river end to our right in this second period. Roden looks up and strokes it neatly out to Nonto, right wing, trying to hustle his way into the penalty area. Ricochet might work for Leeds United. Somerville tucks it back to Rutter at the edge of the box, but there's Ben Gibson, who hooks it away, and Norwich survived temporarily. I did say that Ben Gibson was Steve Gibson's son. Of course, it's his nephew. Schoolboy error. That's my one deliberate mistake for the afternoon, he says, hopefully. Here's Rutter losing out. The ball's going to stay in play, is it? No. Rutter can't keep it in play, so Norwich have themselves a throw out on the far side. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Norwich City 0, Leeds United 0 in the playoffs. And all the gut wrench and nervous tension that they bring with them. Two finals already set up, with Bolton and Oxford in League One next Saturday. Crewe and Crawley meet a week today.
Yeah, most of that gut-wrenching tension, though, comes in the second leg, and that's why we're not really seeing it at this moment in time. It's still reasonably cagey. You know, it's an interesting one for Daniel Farke. Not been good enough, really, or certainly not been the better side. And when you've got the likes of Pirot and Dan James, the temptation could be to stick them on. It's not really working going forward with Archie Gray, but they haven't conceded, and they take 0-0 all day long.
Firpo looking to release Somerville down the left-hand side. He gets to the byline, tries to knock it back for Kamara with his back to goal, left-hand corner of the box. Now Somerville takes over at the left-hand corner of the area, rolling his foot on the ball. Now Firpo to the byline. Can he dig out a cross? Straight into the gloves of Gunn, who holds it at his near post. and it stays 0-0 on Talksport.
They have been better in the second half, though. Again, even though they've not really created too many chances, the intensity has got up a little bit more, and I'm sure the territory stats will show as well. They've spent, if not more time than Norwich in the opposition half, and certainly how they did in the first half anyway.
Norwich fans raise their voices to try and raise their team, but it stays goalless, and Leeds have won it back. Griev driving towards the edge of the area, plays it out to Minto on the right wing. Plenty to aim at in the box for a cross. Minto still has it, jinks his way into the area, then runs out of room. Drops for Glenn Camera. Camera trying to get the ball onto his left foot. Firpo on the overlap. Receives it now at the dead ball line. Pulls it back. Headed away at the near post by Duffy. Straight to Somerville. Tries to drive it into the near post. And this time Gunn can't hold it and diverts it behind for a Leeds United corner at the River End. 57 minutes gone. 0-0.
Well, he's not going to be beaten from there because the angle was so tight. So I'm not quite sure that was the right decision from Somerville to have a shot. But it's been a lot better from Leeds in the second half, and certainly in the last 5 or so minutes as well. At this moment in time, right now, if anyone's going to score a goal, Leeds are the one looking more likely.
Somerville's going to take the corner where the River End meets the south stand on the far side of the field from us. Raises his right arm. Packed 6-yard box again. Underneath the crossbar. Punched away by Gunn. Good punch as well. And Sainz is first on the scene. Tries to take over halfway, but the covering defender on halfway was Archie Gray. And he's put a lovely ball down the right wing for Glenn Camera. Into the area, pulls it back. Archie Gray takes too heavy a touch, comes back to Camera, drives it back to the penalty spot, and a complete swing and a miss by Sam Byram. And then he pulls the defender back as Norwich try and counter. And the home fans want a yellow card for their former player, but it's not happening. But Leeds again getting to good positions, but just couldn't get the final shot away the way they would like. 0-0.
Yeah, first of all, when the ball was laid to Archie Gray, you have to say if he could have done, the best option would have been to try and strike the ball first time, but I think it was just too much under his foot. And then when the ball came to Sam Byram as well, and that was a wonderful opportunity. He's completely miskicked that, hasn't he? But Leeds so much better in the second half.
Now Christian Fasnacht is going to be introduced at this point for Norwich City. So whilst that substitution's being made, let's get the team news from our next commentary. 2:15 at the Hawthorns in the Championship playoffs. West Brom Southampton. Adam Bridge has the details.
Yeah, West Bromwich Albion are unchanged from the side that beat Preston North End to secure that playoff place last weekend, which means there's no place in the starting 11 for club captain Jed Wallace. He's amongst the substitutes. Tom Fellows gets the nod ahead of him, but there is good news. Andy Vyman is back to bring some experience to the bench. As for Southampton, one change from the team that beat Leeds last week. Chalams misses out. He was injured during the game against Leeds and went off. Sekou Mara comes back in, so it looks like they're keeping the back three. Kick-off at 2:15.
Thanks, Adam. Ray Houghton will be alongside Adam at the Hawthorns for commentary of that game once we're done here at Carrow Road. So Christian Fasnacht, the Swiss, is on. Jonathan Rowe making his first start since January. No great surprise that he's been given about an hour, and that will do it as far as David Wagner's concerned.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier, didn't we? It'll be interesting to see whether he actually starts Johnny Rowe or not, and if he does, especially with the manager saying that we have to manage him, and that's why we could only do 45 minutes last time out, that to ask him to do 90, especially with the second leg coming up, would have been too much. So I'm sure that's kind of pre-organised. But give us your best for 60 minutes. He's looked dangerous at times, but he hasn't really affected the game.
Ball's back with Ilan Meslier in the Leeds United goal. 0-0 the score on Talksport. Clearance up to halfway is comfortably dealt with by Yanulis. Sainz finds Josh Sargent, can't get past Ampadu. Great challenge. And Sarah can't retrieve the second ball for Norwich City. Down goes Minto as he was barged into by Sainz. And he was caught accidentally in the back of the head by the trailing boot of Sainz, who's protesting his innocence to the referee. Will be a free kick to Leeds United, whatever happens. And Sainz is saying, I didn't mean it, mate. 0-0.
No, and I don't think he did either. You know, there were two players around him, and as he went down, he's tried to just step over him and just caught him. It's not intentional.
Well, Minto needs some treatment.
Painful though.
Well, there might be a cut somewhere that they've just got to make sure doesn't have a flow of blood from it. So two Leeds United physios are out there. So live on Talksport 2 this afternoon, the Women's FA Cup final between Manchester United and Spurs. A new name will be on that trophy no matter what happens at Wembley this afternoon. And then tomorrow night, live on Talksport, Aston Villa against Liverpool. Yeah, the title's gone for Liverpool. And Jurgen Klopp will want to make sure he doesn't do anything silly so he didn't get a touchline ban for the final game at Anfield. Villa, if they win, then Tottenham cannot catch them. And Villa will be in the Champions League next season. And then speaking of the Champions League, Tottenham still have designs on it, but they're taking on Manchester City, looking for a fourth successive title. That's Tuesday night's live game on Talksport from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And then, of course, all the drama of final day next Sunday afternoon across the Talksport network to find out who finishes where. But all the relegation places are set. There's no way Luton Town can overturn a 13-goal swing.
No, it's done. Done and dusted. They're right to say mathematically, but realistically, it's done and dusted. I actually feel Villa don't need another point because I can't see Tottenham getting anything off Manchester City.
No, but then Manchester City have famously never even scored at the new Tottenham Stadium since the move. Never mind get a point.
Is that in the league or?
It's in the league, yeah, not in the cup. They've won in the cup there, but in the league they have a problem.
I love it. Producer Sal, Tottenham supporting. No, of course he's not.
No.
Just nodding.
No, I don't think I'm allowed to say who our producer supports.
We know who supports Danter.
He's a blue nose like me.
He is a blue nose. We said that last time out.
I'm always careful not to out, co-commentators.
We did that with Sal last time I was working.
Did you really?
Anyway.
Well, yeah, we were sharing our grief together at Peterborough on Wednesday night, the first time we'd seen each other since the events of the previous weekend. It's all right, we're chill now. We'll bring on League One. Going to get back underway in a second. Minto is off the field. Meslier will take the free kick for Leeds United at 0-0. We played 63 minutes, but there'll be a bit to add on now after that hold-up for Minto to get treatment. And Norwich City have it in their right-back position with Jack Stacey. Tucks it infield for Nunez. Infield to Fasnacht, getting his first involvement. Nunez again shows good strength to keep the ball away from Rutter, and now spots Giannoulis making a good strong run down this near side, the Norwich left. Gets to the level of the edge of the area, clips it in, just goes beyond Sargent. Was there a nudge on him by Ampadu? No, says Josh Smith, the referee. And Minto is back out there, protects the ball from Giannoulis. Good strength from the smaller man, and earns Leeds United a throw in their right back position, 0-0.
Yeah, and Giannoulis needs to be careful as well, doesn't he? Of course, with any kind of late tackles, mistimed, he's already on a yellow card now, and that's something which I'm sure both wingers from Leeds will be trying to run at him if they possibly can.
You're listening to the EFL Championship Playoffs live on Talksport with McDonald's. Order McDelivery on the McDonald's app and get tasty rewards points. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Here's Kenny McLean for Norwich City at 0-0. Rolling the ball into the feet of Gabriel Sara at the edge of the area, left-hand corner of the box, chips it across, Sargent flicks it on, Fasnacht can't bring it down under control, and Firpo can help Leeds United clear their lines. Just wouldn't sit properly for Christian Fasnacht, and then Firpo is held back by Fasnacht, and that's going to be a yellow card for the Norwich substitute. 0-0 the score.
Well, he's had a bad 20 seconds there, hasn't he? Having a wonderful opportunity. I mean, to be fair to him, he perhaps didn't quite read the flick on. He tried to bring it down and he didn't, but if that first touch was perfect, he would have had an unbelievable opportunity to score the first goal of the game. And as Leeds get on the counter-attack, he's pulled him back and is absolutely a definite yellow card. And what an opportunity that was.
That's the voice of Scott Minto alongside me, Ian Danter. Scott, former West Ham, Benfica, Chelsea left back, looking on as Leeds and Norwich still locked at 0-0 here at Carrow Road. 25 minutes to go in this first leg. Joe Rodon on loan from Tottenham plays a 1-2 with Ilya Gruyev and then finds his centre-half partner Ethan Ampadu. Then Kamara now has got Firpo showing from on the outside, but it goes infield to Rutter, and then Somerville has found Glenn Kamara, but he's offside. Flag goes up against the Leeds United midfielder, and Norwich have a free kick just outside their own penalty area. Duffy rolls it back to Angus Gunn, bedecked in light blue goalkeeping kit this afternoon for Norwich. Ben Gibson will find Nunez. Early ball downfield, looking for Josh Sargent, looking to get in behind Roden, and he's picked it up left hand side of the area, holds play up, but good defending by Joe Roden. Just got his foot around and won the ball back, and now he's made a run, Joe Roden, up to halfway and found Rutter looking to play a reverse pass to get Somerville well in the inside right channel, telegraphed and picked off by Norwich, and Jack Stacey has it back instead. Sarah on halfway, faced up by Archie Gray, just drop of the shoulder once, twice, and then flicks it down the right hand side for Jack Stacey. Sarah again takes over, works the ball back to Kenny McLean at the edge of the centre circle. Yulusa made a great run, but McLean just couldn't find him. Instead it's gone left to Gibson. Now Yanulis wants it on this near side of the left, midway point of the Leeds half, 0-0. Norwich attacking the Barclay end in this second period. Down goes Gabriel Sara over Glenn Kamara, and that's a free kick just beyond the centre point of the Leeds United half for Norwich City. 0-0 the score.
Well, just going back to where Leeds had that counter-attack, and it was brilliant defending, you're right, from Joe Roden. Then he carried on as well, and he played the ball into Rutter, and Rutter it was a really poor pass under no pressure whatsoever, and I have to say, Daniel Farke must be thinking about taking him off, not necessarily changing the shape, but bringing somebody on who can actually hold the ball up and look dangerous. But yeah, looking at this free kick now, again, it's one of those like we had one in the early first half. It's almost in between the sticks, but it's just a bit too far out to have a shot. They may well have a go at it, but it'd be some strike to beat the keeper from here.
Well, again, it's Nunez and Sara having the conversation about who strikes it.
It's almost too straight. Sorry, Dan. It's almost too straight though to kind of, dink it in behind or whatever. So maybe it's worth having a shot, and if the keeper fumbles, follow it in.
Well, Nunez is very deliberately placing the ball down and then taking those long strides back from the ball. Four-man Leeds wall in front of the D. Up steps Marcelino Nunez, right-footed into the wall, deflects and wide for a Norwich City corner at the Barclay end. 0-0.
Yeah, it's a decent strike. It's a good wall though. It's what you want, to be very strong, straight at it. And a great opportunity still, another set piece.
So Nunez will go across in front of those Leeds fans in the South Stand where it meets the Barclay end to strike this corner kick in for Norwich City. Right-footed out swinger to come then from Marcelino Nunez. Duffy just hanging back at the edge of the area. It's drilled along the deck. Jorginho Rutter, the first defender, won it, and he drifts outside the penalty area, hits it against Sykes, but it is a Leeds United throw, and that corner kick comes to nothing for Norwich. 0-0 it stays. Just over 20 minutes to go here in this first leg on Talksport.
Well, he did well there, Rutter, but I was just thinking as he was running out of the ball and just overplayed it a touch. If the Norwich player could have got there first, he would have brought him down for a penalty, and that could have been that type of day, and it looks like he is coming off now.
Well, Joel Peru is coming on for Jorginho Rutter, and Wilfried Gnonto is also coming off, and Jaden Anthony on loan from Bournemouth is going to be his replacement for these last 20 minutes or so on Talksport. Double change made then by Daniel Farke, back on his old stomping ground where he won 2 championship titles as Norwich City manager, but he's got to do it the hard way to get to the Premier League this time if he wants to make it a hat-trick. Now Glenn Kamara drifts away from Nunez and wins a throw on the halfway line in front of those Norwich fans in the South Stand opposite us. Ethan Ampadu and Joe Roden, who both would have been hoping to go to the Euros themselves with Wales, but it wasn't to be, courtesy of that playoff penalty shootout defeat to Poland in Cardiff. Gruev gives it back to Ampadu. Now Firpo. Neat ball infield for Glenn Kamara. Plenty of space for Sam Byram on this near side, and that's who he's looked for, and he's found him. He can bring the ball under control midway point of the half. Works it down the right wing for Jaden Anthony. First time ball from Anthony, deep beyond everybody in a white shirt inside the area, but Junior Firpo can pick it up outside the box. Now Crescencio Somerville. Back out to Junior Firpo, left hand side. Glenn Kamara takes over. Somerville will now have it. Approaching the left-hand corner of the box, looks for Firpo on the overlap. First time ball to the far post. Byram tries to head it back in play, but it was out of play from Firpo's cross. 19 minutes to play on Talksport plus whatever added time we get. Still we'll wait for the breakthrough, Scott Minto.
Yeah, do you know what? I thought the first leg would be pretty cagey. Both teams clearly trying to go for it, but David Wagner's side better in the first half, not so good, not even a shot on target in the second as yet.
Live on Talksport 2 in an hour, it's the Women's FA Cup final, new name on the trophy for sure, Manchester United against Tottenham. The team news comes from Talksport's Joe Shannon.
2 changes for Manchester United, Dance. Riviere and Williams come in, Evans and Paris drop out for Tottenham. Also 2 changes, James Turner and Thomas both start. Bartrip and Clinton make way. The 54th Women's FA Cup final underway at 2:30 live on Talksport 2.
Thank you, Joe. The build-up already underway from Box Park ahead of that Women's FA Cup final. Here on Talksport, we'll be off to the Hawthorns after this to bring you the first leg of West Brom against Southampton with Adam Bridge and Ray Houghton. But here come Norwich defending as Leeds come forward down their right-hand side with Jayden Anthony just on as a substitute for Leeds in this second half, but he can't keep the ball under control, and Norwich have a throw right by their own corner flag, left-hand side. Conor Roberts still warming up quite strongly for Leeds United. You were wondering whether he would come back into the side today, Scott Minto.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I have to say, Sam Byram's played very well. It's interesting also that Dan James wasn't one of the substitutes to come on.
There is a heavy Welsh contingent at Leeds United this season. And here is the aforementioned Joel Piroux, came on a little while ago, former Swansea man. He played his trade in Wales for a bit. Roden finds Kamara. Bit of space to roll the ball left for Ampadu. Kamara again inside the centre circle. Plays it right for Ilya Gruyev. Space for Byram on the right-hand side. He's been fed by Gruyev. First time ball into the feet of Anthony. Tries to wriggle away from the challenge of Sainz. Has to go back to Rodon on halfway. Again, it's patient from Leeds United as they look to break the deadlock here. They've just shading the possession stats at the moment as well. Leeds over the course of the 74 minutes we've had, 57 to 43. It's what you do with it that counts. It's going to be a Norwich change in a minute as well. They're just readying that down beneath us. As Leeds get across into the box, it's overhit by Byram. Only Peru really was in there notionally for Leeds United, and Norwich clear their lines downfield.
Thing is as well, Leeds, they're looking dangerous at times, and at times they're just keeping the ball. But what that does mean is that Norwich aren't able to compile anything themselves. And again, we talk about you playing at home just from a psychological point of view. 1-0 is such a difference to 0-0. The first half they were very good. Second half, so still waiting for that shot on target.
Like for like change at left back for Norwich City. Dimitris Giannoulis is putting a good shift for Norwich today. He's off, and Sam McCallum, who joined from Coventry City 4 years ago, has scored 1 this season, but it's a like-for-like switch left back for left back. Nothing tactically changes for Norwich at this point. 15 minutes to go. Norwich 0, Leeds United 0.
I wonder whether he's taken off just because he's had a yellow already. He's put in a couple of meaty challenges, and they certainly don't want to go down to 10 men.
Here's Ben Gibson, just getting over the halfway line, but loses possession for Norwich. They could have men over here, Leeds, if they play it quickly enough. Somerville darting down the inside left channel. Got support on his outside from Firpo. Now drifts out towards the far touchline. Keeps hold of it well, but it was good defending from Stacey to stop him getting any further in field. But Somerville still has it. Gruyev takes over. Now Kamara. Firpo showing on the far left-hand side. Only 2 players in the box waiting for a cross in Leeds white. One of them is Peru, the other Archie Gray. Here's Jayden Anthony once more. Down the left-hand side for Leeds United. Faced up by Nunez. Shows good strength as Nunez, but it goes out of play for a Leeds United throw just down by the corner flag where the south stand meets the river end that Leeds are attacking. 0-0.
Yeah, and all the time we're in Norwich's half. Norwich will not be able to score, so this is really clever play and much better, tactically, and the intensity from Leeds United in the second half.
Ball's back out with the former Norwich man Sam Byram. Tries to play a 1-2 with Anthony, but he was caught by McCallum as he released the ball. So Leeds have a free kick now, out on the right-hand side, almost level with the Norwich penalty area. Probably about 30 yards from the dead ball line, but a good chance for Ilya Gruyev, who appears the most likely, although Somerville's trotting over to this near side now. Maybe he'll take this free kick. 0-0.
Yeah, it might do, but again, that in-swinging free kick will certainly be very, very dangerous. If the ball comes in with quality, it's so difficult to defend against.
Norwich holding their defensive line on the 18-yard line. Gruyev and Somerville, the two players standing over it. Will it be the right foot of Somerville or the left foot of Gruyev? Two-man Norwich wall standing, well, not even together, at the right-hand corner of the box. It's Gruyev to deliver. Good pace on the delivery, and a kind of an attempted scorpion kick from a standing start by Sam Byram, but it was going way, way over the top, and Angus Gunn knew it. Goal kick to Norwich. It stays goalless.
Yeah, it was played in with pace and a bit of whip, but it wasn't far enough or high enough as well. So Byram actually did very well to kind of flick it over him, but difficult to score from there in that position.
Angus Gunn receives the ball back from one of his centre-halves and clatters it downfield for Norwich, looking for the head of Josh Sargent, but comfortably won by Joe Roden. Firpo and Kamara now in possession. Tucked back to Ethan Ampadu. Now Gruyev lays it off for Roden. Wonder what his future holds beyond this season, whether Ange Postecoglou might have taken a look and think he might be worth a run for Spurs next season.
Well, I think for Leeds United, if they don't go up, then I can't see them keeping him.
Gruyev for Leeds, just out of the halfway line. Again, Byram in space on this near side. Good ball to find him. Right-hand corner of the box. Down the right side of the area is Anthony, who hits the ball against Sainz and wins Leeds another corner.
Yeah, Norwich is, you talked about the belief. Do Norwich believe that they can beat Leeds? And in the first half, I do think they were really at it. Second half almost feels like we're struggling now. We're up against a boxer that in the second half of the fight we know is going to come on strong, and now they're on the back foot at the moment.
Gruyev just spotting the ball down only now at the corner of the City stand and the River End. You can almost see him through the windows of the executive areas just to our immediate right-hand side from our commentary position. Be a left-footed in-swinger from Gruyev. In it comes now, deep to the far post, but headed away under no real pressure. Ampadu was the closest player to it. I think it was Kenny McLean that got the flick header away for Norwich City, but Leeds have a throw out on the far side, their left. Just over 10 minutes to go in this first leg on Talksport. Don't forget we're off to the Hawthorns for the first leg of West Brom Southampton with Adam Bridge and Ray Houghton at the conclusion of this game, and then following that the Sunday session with Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Perry Groves. The team are at Old Trafford this afternoon. 4:30 kickoff in the Premier League. It's Manchester United against Arsenal. Regular updates from that encounter to the Theatre of Dreams. Out it goes for another Leeds United throw on halfway this time.
It's a heck of a day all round, isn't it?
It is. Heck of a day. And then don't forget Trans-Euro Express tonight from 9 with Danny Kelly and Andy Brassel. Yep. The very, very best way to round off your weekend with a exceedingly thorough breakdown of everything that's happened in European football in the past 7 days. Here's Joe Roden for Leeds United at 0-0 inside his own half. Plays the ball into the feet of Sam Byram. Heavy touch from Jayden Anthony, but he did well to steer the ball back to his goalkeeper under pressure from Sam McCallum. And now Gruyev turns midway point of his own half and feeds the ball back to Joe Roden. Just trots up to the halfway line. Nobody engaging him in Norwich colours. Ball played back into square to Gruyev. Firpo's in plenty of space out on the far side, although Stacey's now coming across to close down that space a little bit. Glenn Kamara takes over. Scott Minto, what have you spotted?
No, there's no rush for them, Leeds. They're just keeping the ball.
And now Pirou finds Somerville. Archie Gray at the edge of the area drives it against the Norwich player, goes behind for yet another Leeds United corner. This time at the River End. 10 minutes to go, 0-0.
It's just been a really excellent second half from Leeds. It really has. They're keeping the ball. They're territorially, they're staying in Norwich's half. They're looking very solid whenever Norwich attack, who still haven't had a shot on target as yet, and they're not forcing it. And by feeling no pressure, they can create chances.
Short corner Leeds have it back at the edge of the area. Jaden Anthony goes for goal, straight into the grateful arms of Angus Gunn. On target, but straight at the keeper. 0-0.
Yeah, simple save in the end, you have to say. But again, they're just pass, and creating it. And Norwich at the moment, where they had that high intensity and belief earlier in the first half, they seems to have gone from them in the second.
Norwich in possession with Sainz. Finds Shane Duffy. Knew he had to get the ball back to his keeper quickly because Somerville was closing down the space rapidly. Angus Gunn still has it at his feet, and then he's forced to clear the ball out of play, but he's cleared it out because he spotted Josh Sargent sat on his backside off the ball just inside the Leeds United half. I don't know whether that's cramp or something a bit more serious for the American, but David Wagner could ill afford to do without Josh Sargent going forward in these playoffs if he's picked up something substantial.
Absolutely. We know the class play has been for Norwich this season, even how much they've missed him when he has been injured for that 4-month period, and they certainly won't want him having something similar. Difficult to see from where we are exactly what the injury is, but it certainly gives both managers the ability to have a word with the team, and I don't think Daniel Farke needs to say anything. They have been superb, Leeds, in the second half without really having to go for it. They've controlled the tempo of the second period, and it is absolutely David Wagner who needs to sort things out, because what are we now? 7.5 minutes plus injury time away from going to Ellen Road, and if it's 0-0, you'd have to favour Leeds.
Well, it's a famous name coming on for Norwich to replace Josh Sargent, who's walking off the pitch unaided. Doesn't look in any great discomfort, but it might just be a slight pull or a dead leg that's forced him off. And so Sidney Van Hooijdonk, and yes, he is related, the son of Pierre Van Hooijdonk, former Celtic and Nottingham Forest striker, yet to score since his loan move from Bologna in Serie A. 24 years of age, Sidney Van Hooijdonk, and he's every bit as tall as his old man. The apple didn't fall far from the tree there.
Let's see if he can score a crucial goal like his old man.
7 minutes to go. Norwich 0, Leeds 0 on Talksport in the EFL Championship playoffs. West Brom against Southampton to come straight on the back of this, so stay on this frequency for more gut-wrench and playoff drama with Adam Bridge and Ray Houghton at the Hawthorns. Sam McCallum can't keep the ball in play. It was a chip clearance from Angus Gunn that was overhit, so Leeds have a throw right hand side, taken quickly by Sam Byram into Jaden Anthony and Glenn Kamara, who didn't win the throw. It's a Norwich throw that's been given down this near side there left. Sam McCallum, who's come on as a second half substitute for Giannoulis, will get the ball back into play. Van Hooijdonk is the target, but headed up in the air and out by Sam Byram, and that does give Norwich a slightly different attacking focal point for these last few minutes, rather than Sargent, who's more live and technical and playing on the floor. This is a chance to go a bit aerial now, Norwich.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the size of him up against Roden and Ampadu, he's certainly taller than the two, so we'll see whether Norwich can actually get crosses in the box. At the moment, they can't get hold of the ball,
because Anthony's won it back for Leeds United. Archie Gray finds it through to Jaden Anthony once more. Byram on the overlap on the right hand side. Anthony gets to the right hand corner of the penalty area, plays it back out wide right to Sam Byram, faced up by McCallum. Leeds United keeping possession well. Jaden Anthony works his way into the penalty area but can't get past Nunez, who made the final challenge, and Norwich bring it clear. Van Hooijdonk on this left hand side lays it back, actually puts it in between full-back and centre-half, and McLean has to come back and tidy up for Norwich and find his keeper. Good clearance from Angus Gunn though. Sara couldn't win the ball on halfway. Sainz has gone down, been caught by Sam Byram. Free kick to Norwich City just shy of the halfway line, and the seconds tick away. Less than 5 to play of normal time. 0-0.
Yes, they do. Still waiting for a shot on target for Norwich in the second half, and this is an opportunity now where if they do want to go a little bit longer, well, they decided not to.
Gabriel Sara goes to ground. He's been fouled by a combination of Griep and Kamara. Daniel James is about to come on for Leeds United for these last few minutes. I wonder whether Daniel Farke will just hold back on making the change whilst Norwich have this free kick. It's pretty much dead centre of the Leeds half, this free kick for Norwich, as they attack the Barclay end to our left. And there's a right old meeting going on between 4 Norwich players about how to do this.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, Daniel Farke's not going to bring on Dan James when you've got a defensive set piece. But again, we talked about it how, earlier, and this is even further out. It's 40 yards or so, but it's straight, so it's not an easy thing to do. They're going to have to try and create an angle to get across in. They're certainly not going to shoot from here.
Both centre halves, Gibson and Duffy, were having words with Nunez and Sara, who were the 2 players standing over the free kick, as to what to do. Leeds holding the edge of the penalty area. In comes the free kick. It's gone beyond Shane Duffy, who I think was the target, and Gabriel Sara holds out his hands to his centre half, says, what run was that compared to what I was expecting it to make?
Do you know what, that's a good ball. They've got to read that at the far post. Again, we talked about how they've got to try and create the angle, not going to shoot from there, but don't know why all the Norwich players didn't try and come in and read that, because that was a decent ball from that angle.
Daniel James, then, the fleet-footed Welshman, is on for Crescencio Somerville for these remaining minutes. 3 minutes of normal time to play on Talksport in the playoffs, in the Championship. 0-0 it remains. Goal kick to Leeds United after that free kick for Norwich came to nothing. And Meslier will strike it left-footed downfield out to the inside right channel. Peru goes up for the header, come to be won though at the back by Gibson. And Norwich will have a throw in their left back position. Sam McCallum just next to his manager David Wagner at the edge of his technical area, looks on as McCallum hurls it down this near touchline, but Roden heads it back to halfway, hooked back into the Leeds half by McLean, finds the head of Roden, and then James, his first involvement is to head the ball in field for Leeds. Bit of head tennis on the halfway line, finally headed forward by McCallum, but Van Hooijdonk ran into his opposite number Joe Roden, who I think felt the effects of that, and the ball's back with Ilan Meslier. 0-0.
Certainly there'll be a good physical battle between those two, but the way that Roden and Ampadu just complement each other, they're so good, aren't they? Both comfortable on the ball, both very silky, both don't mind sticking their foot in as well. Ampadu, okay, as we said earlier, is a midfielder really playing centre half, but the two of them just dovetail so well.
Leeds try and win the ball inside the Norwich half, but Nunez turns away from Jayden Anthony, running back towards his own penalty area, and he was fouled by Peru, and Norwich have a free kick. Is there to be late drama here? Is there to be a late chance for either side to take as an advantage to Ellen Road for Thursday night's second leg live on Talksport? And the attendance just been confirmed that we gave you earlier. A few ironic cheers from the Leeds fans, because let's face it, Ellen Road is slightly bigger than Carrow Road, and there will be a few more there on Thursday night.
Oh yes.
And they will make a right old racket. Make sure you're with us on Thursday night for that. It'll be a great listen.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, the Leeds fans who have travelled, nearly 2,000, will be delighted with the performance of the team in the second half. They bossed the second half, they really have, been in control of it. Created a couple of chances, but defensively made Norwich look as if they're just not capable, taking the belief out of them.
Quick throw for Leeds, trying to get Dan James away on the right hand side, but he wasn't switched on for the throw that Sam Barrow was taking. Doesn't matter, he's won it at the dead ball line to get away from Nunez. Teases the ball to the far post, nobody there for Leeds. Now Junior Firpo hooks it back across the face of goal. Panic stations at the back for Norwich. They get it half clear, and then a foul by Griev on Gabriel Sara releases the pressure valve for Norwich City. 0-0.
And he didn't need to do that, did he? Because they were very much really trying to attack as much as possible. Sara wasn't going anywhere, but good play from Dan James. That's what he can do. It's not all about pace.
Into added time we go on Talksport in this first leg. 4 minutes have been shown by the fourth official as minimum stoppage time, with the score at 0-0. Chance for a winner for either side from this point. Norwich's free kick drilled downfield by Angus Gunn. Sam McCallum heads it on. Sara the only man ahead of him. Roden heads it back up into the air for Leeds. Van Hooijdonk trying to make a nuisance of himself, but Byram, the former Norwich man, clears, and Leeds concede the throw. 0-0 here. West Brom, Southampton to follow at 2:15. Don't forget the Women's FA Cup final getting underway in the next 40 minutes or so over on Talksport 2 at Wembley Stadium. Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester United. Plenty of live sport for you today across the network. Shane Duffy for Norwich City. A minute of the minimum 4 have gone. Plays a diagonal ball out to this left-hand side. McCallum gets a good header on it, ahead of Sam Byram, but Van Hooijdonk couldn't profit. The header on was too straight and easy for Meslier to collect. 0-0.
Again, they are going direct there, but nothing's come off the back of it. And I have to say, Daniel Farke will be absolutely delighted with how his team has played in the second half.
Meslier clears long downfield for Leeds, chested down by Peru, trying to get Archie Gray into the game. Gibson though will tidy up and guide it back to his keeper Angus Gunn. First time right-footed clearance, looking for Sarah, but very, very comfortably dealt with by Joe Roden. Ball's hooked back up into the onto the halfway line. Where's that going to drop? Gruyev brought it down out the sky very neatly. And now Gibson just turns away from Daniel James. Nearly took the ball off his toe. Gunn clears downfield. Sarah tries to get a flick on. Van Hooijdonk almost tried to go for the same flick. And then Van Hooijdonk collides with Byram. And that's not good for Norwich because they'd won the ball back. But Van Hooijdonk's foul on Byram gives Leeds a free kick. 2 minutes of stoppage time have gone. 2 to play. Still 0-0.
Yeah, the thing is, he doesn't need to come in like that. He certainly put Byram under pressure, and Byram actually played it straight to a Norwich player, so they'll certainly be disappointed it gave away the free kick. And again, it just gives Leeds United the chance to, and Meslier in particular, to take his time with this free kick and run down the clock.
Meslier then will have this free kick just past the midway point of his own half for Leeds, and he clips it up towards the edge of the area. Peru goes up for a header with Gibson, wins it. Gray nods it down. Daniel James hooks the ball towards the penalty area, brought down by Jack Stacey, who volleys it into the Norfolk afternoon sky, drops on the halfway line, and a very nice cushion header by Ampadu. Leeds coming forward again with a minute to go. 0-0 the score. Back with Glenn Kamara. Support from Junior Firpo, who tries to barge his way past Jack Stacey. Peru tried to guide the ball into the edge of the area. Sarah wins a header. Good win back with the possession from Leeds United. Archie Gray hooks the ball up into the air. Where's that going to drop? Edge of the box. Norwich trying to get it clear, a bit panicky. Down goes Sarah. He was caught by Firpo. And once again, Norwich just dilly-dallying with the ball around their own 18-yard line, but they've won a free kick, 0-0.
And again, you've got to give credit to Leeds for the way they've come out in this second half. They've put Norwich under pressure. It feels like almost that burst of energy that they had in the first half. Norwich, they're not able to go again. And then psychologically, which you talked about how is so important up against a side that they've lost home and away already this season. Can they go again? Still waiting for that shot on target in the second half, and it's not come. And territorially, the game's almost of this second period been played almost wholly in Norwich's half.
Norwich have a free kick, and the referee brings the first leg to a close, and the applause is mostly from the Leeds United fans opposite us in the south stand, although Norwich fans also joining in. You cannot separate Norwich City and Leeds United going into the second leg. It was tight, it was tense, it was cagey. Opportunities at a premium for both sides. Only once was the ball in the back of the net, but that was ruled out for an offside against Jorginho Rutter of Leeds in the first half. Leeds had the territory in the second half, but never really forced Angus Gunn into a really important match-saving save, and so they are locked at 0-0 going back to Thursday night's second leg at Ellen Road, which you can hear live with us here, because effectively at half-time in this Championship playoff tie, it is Norwich City 0, Leeds United 0.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. That second leg live on Talksport Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Join us for that. Let's hope it's a little bit more dramatic than that one we've seen and heard today. This felt like two teams pretty happy to take their chance in the second leg. Not a classic Scot. Certainly neither of them took the game by the scruff of the neck. Does David Wagner think this is going to be enough? Or will he be thinking this was a huge missed opportunity? Because Leeds weren't at their best.
No, they weren't, especially in the first half, Sam. And I do think it was a missed opportunity. But again, I'll talk about what's happened for Leeds in the playoffs in recent times, or in all their times, in all 5 of them, but certainly the last one at Derby, against Derby. But I feel that almost Norwich tried to go for it in the first half, and what we saw here is a team that was at it full throttle and then just didn't have anything more in the second, whereas another team, a better team really, and I think the league table reflects that was a lot better in the second half, and they didn't really feel that they needed to go on to win the game. Of course they would have loved to have taken a 1-0 win away back to Ellen Road, but they were quite happy with a 0-0. And I'm looking at Norwich, and they just didn't have anything. They didn't have one shot on target in the second half, the whole of the second half, and you're playing at home. So I think that really, at this moment in time, there's no doubt about it, Daniel Farke would be the happy of the 2 managers. You just never know at Ellen Road what could happen.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that stadium, there is a very small sliver down by the Holiday Inn opposite you, away to your left-hand side, of Leeds United fans, and it's those who we could hear right at the end of the game marching on together. The Leeds United song was coming through thick and fast and incredibly loud. The game seemed to be screaming out for a bit of pace. Dan James running at Giannoulis, who was already on a booking, looked like a really sensible move. Maybe Matteo Joseph, a bit of youthful zest. I know James wasn't 100% fit, but it took so long for him to get onto the pitch. And why didn't Joseph get off the bench?
Yeah, do you know what? Because I think this was for Daniel Farke. He would have taken 0-0 at the start of it, and while going forward they weren't great, certainly in the first half, by taking, say, an Archie Gray out the equation, or by just changing things, changes can change the dynamic of situation. And we've seen that in the Champions League semi-final, haven't we, with substitutions being made, and you think you're trying to do the right thing and it works out not. Sometimes the best thing to do is to do nothing. I mean, what I would say is I think Ruta generally wasn't holding the ball up from minute 1, but I think the rest of it...
He was anonymous in most of the game, to be honest with you, Scott, wasn't he?
Absolutely, but I think the rest of the team, Leeds, looked pretty comfortable, and even in the second half, even more comfortable. So while you perhaps want to try and do something a little bit better going forward, you don't want to ruin anything defensively, because 0-0 was a result that Farke absolutely was happy with, and Wagner wouldn't have been.
The referee Josh Smith was letting things go. Duffy through the back of Somerville, particularly strong. Nonto got a bit of rough treatment. Giannoulis giving him the crying eyes signal after he'd left him on the floor. I thought it was supposed to be Leeds who were dirty. Was that a tactic by Norwich?
You're showing your age there, aren't you, with Leeds? No, I like the way the referee refed here. He was quite happy for it to be a pretty physical game. Again, we haven't got VAR, and the EFL accept that, the fans accept that as well. I like to see 2 teams really go at it, because especially in a game that's 0-0 where there haven't been lots of chances, sometimes a really tasty tackle can lift the crowd as well and change things. So I thought it was really well refereed. He didn't get everything right, and we spoke about that possible penalty decision in the first half. I personally think it was a penalty, but even if VAR was involved, it wasn't a clear and obvious error. Dan's probably looking at me saying, don't even mention VAR, we're in the EFL now. But I thought it was very well refereed, and I thought what we saw here was, we're talking about 2 teams, not match officials.
Yeah, thank you very much, gentlemen. I thought when you look at the 2 sets of players coming off the field at the end of the game, the Norwich players' body language doesn't look as good as the Leeds players' body language going into that second leg. Maybe that's because they only had 39% of the ball at home, managed just 1 shot on target across 90 minutes, whilst Leeds United didn't fare much better. They had 6 attempts, 2 on target. It wasn't a game that kept you on the edge of your seat. It was pretty scrappy at times. It is only 1 win in 7 now for Leeds United and Daniel Farke, but they'll fancy themselves at Ellen Road, even if their form at home has tailed off at the end of the season. Carrow Road, difficult place to go. Leeds couldn't get on the score sheet, neither could Norwich. We turn our attention to West Brom and Southampton in just a second. Scott Minto and Ian Danter, thank you very much. Leeds got so many points in the regular season that in most campaigns they would have gone up automatically. Not this year. So what about the playoffs? Well, not in Norfolk. Will it be all white on Thursday night? We'll find out.